Okie dokie. Sorry for being late. How late am I? 10 minutes. 5 minutes. I'm only 5 minutes late. Fucking hell, that makes a change. Yes, Bar, everybody, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Right. We have got a treat for you this evening. Sorry, I am not quite with it as usual. Let me just send the link to Mr. Ingram Jones from BWTM Sports. Link sent. So yes, I won't be doing this show alone today. Ingram should be here with us in the next 5 or so minutes. So we'll be talking. The main topic will be Anthony Joshua. We'll be looking at a few things. Listen, I'm not saying this. Other people online are saying this. I mean, we'll look at this article at some point as well. Believing Bruce is at it again. He thinks Anthony Joshua has absolutely bottled it. That's not my words. That's the words of psychology expert Believing Bruce. He thinks Anthony Joshua is cooked. Let me tell you something. I've got nothing but respect, yeah, for Believing Bruce, yeah, and his psychological analysis. But I will say this right now. If Believing Bruce is saying that Anthony Joshua is bottling it and / mentally broken by Alexander Usyk, that's your cue to put the mortgage on Anthony Joshua by knockout. Because no disrespect, yeah, but that guy does tend to get it, a bit sideways constantly. But if you're a big fan of the channel Fight Disciples, some people also known it as Shite Disciples. I believe they're in the pockets of DAZN. I could be wrong about that. I think they could be sponsored by DAZN. But anyway, shout out to Fight Disciples. If you're interested in the psychological aspect of boxing, me, I don't give a shit about it. I think what wins boxing fights is 2 fists. That's just me. Maybe I'm old school Manny Stewart style. But yeah, for me, boxing fights are settled by 2 fists. Who punches harder? Who's the faster puncher? Who's got more stamina? Who's got the better chin? Etc. etc. Who's got the better fundamentals? That's to me what wins boxing fights. But for other people, there's all kinds of shit that goes into it. But yeah, there you go. There's a video here. Look, Anthony Joshua. Some people think that he bottled it in the face-off, which we'll be showing you in just a second. Lakvinder Singh is here. Easy Ultra, looking forward to the show. Well, Lakvinder, I am late. I just went to the gym to test my heart out. I did 5 rounds of skipping and 2 very quick rounds on the bag. The cup of tea that my missus has brought me is nice and cold now because I spent too much time faffing around here trying to do this show. Random Matrix is about AJ. He's only hard when threatening students. Come on, man. Give AJ a break, man. Listen, you guys are going to make me into an Anthony Joshua fan. This guy's getting so much disrespect. I don't know what for. You know what I mean? His fan base is absolutely atrocious. We know that. Oh, I've sent you the link, Ingram. I've sent you the link. Just sent it now. I'll send it again. 1 second. I've sent it before. I'm going to send it again. Maybe it's taken a little while to arrive. 1 second. Let's just do that again. Right. Wash. I have sent the link again for a second time. So no worries. I haven't done any of the main stuff yet, Ingram, anyway, so it's not a problem. So Ingram, check your email again. There'll be a link in there. Chris S says, I thought he bottled it as well. Oh, here we go. I don't know. Look, we'll talk about it with Ingram in just a sec. I don't know why this guy, he lost the fight to one of the greatest of all time at the end of the day. Listen, let me tell you something. I'll say this before Ingram comes on. I think Anthony Joshua's fan base, yeah, is without question the most abusive fan base I've ever come across in all my years of watching boxing. I'll be honest with you. I've never come across a more abusive fan base than Anthony Joshua's fan base. They are the most abusive by far. They're the ones that will send you death threats, threaten your family, or try and dox you. I've never seen anything like it. All over a muscle-bound brother from the West Indies. I honestly believe if Anthony Joshua didn't have big muscles, we wouldn't have any of these problems, That's my honest opinion, If Anthony Joshua didn't have big muscles and a big cock, I don't think any of this would happen. But I will say one thing. His fan base is just so... Actually, then again, Freezing Boxing says it's the most casual fan base along with Canelo. Do you know what? Then again, Canelo Alvarez's fan base. I mean, these guys were making jokes about Caleb Plant's dead mother. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Who's got the... Those 2 fan bases are just... They're so... I'm going to be honest with you. They're so... toxic. They're so toxic. One fan base was making jokes about Caleb Plant's dead mother, and the other ones are threatening to fucking kill you because you don't think AJ's got got the greatest resume in the history of boxing. I mean, they don't make it easy for him. But Anthony Joshua, the man, Anthony Joshua, the guy, personally, I think, look, some of the guys in the boxing media, and I'm not talking about YouTube guys, I'm talking about guys who are actually making money in boxing, guys like Colin Hart, Steve Bunce, some of these other guys. Do you know what I mean? For me, like saying things like they think AJ's finished, he's done. You know what I mean? Colin Hart, what did Colin Hart say about Anthony Joshua? I thought this was atrocious what Colin Hart said, to be honest. I thought it was really over the top, for a guy who was a unified champion. Look at Colin Hart. Look at some of the stuff that Colin Hart said about Anthony Joshua. You were humiliated by a fat man. Joshua is a busted flush. I mean, look, man. I don't know what you guys think. We'll get into it in just a second. So, Ingram will be coming on in just a second, and we'll be talking about the Anthony Joshua versus Usyk face-off. We'll be watching that in just a sec. Is Anthony Joshua mentally broken? We'll also be talking about the Blue Do-Rag Man. All right, the Blue Do-Rag Man, also known as Anthony Yarde. Is Anthony Yarde versus Beterbiev, right? Is that the worst mismatch, the worst big fight mismatch in boxing this year? For me, there are two fights that scream mismatch in boxing right now. Those two fights for me are Michael McKinson versus Virgil Ortiz. Press one if you would agree with me that Michael McKinson versus Virgil Ortiz has potential mismatch written all over it. Press one if you agree. Press two if you disagree. And the other fight, again, is between that and Yarde, a.k.a. the Blue Do-Rag Man, and Beterbiev. I don't know what in the fuck Anthony Yarde is doing getting in the ring with Beterbiev. I can't understand it. I read part of Frank Warren's column. Frank Warren says, Frank Warren's saying people are thinking I'm crazy, but I really think Yarde can beat Beterbiev. I mean, I don't know on what fucking planet Frank Warren is on right now. Ingram's just joined us. Ingram, I'm just going to bring you in just a second. I'm just getting my headphones ready, and here we go. I think we're ready to go. Let me just check the sound, and I will bring Ingram in. Here we go. Ingram, sir, how are we doing? Can you hear me loudly and clearly?
Yeah, I can. How are you?
I can't hear you though. I'm sure that's my fault. Guys, can you hear Ingram? Let me know.
Let me get this fixed up.
Let me know. I can't hear Ingram at the moment, but keep on, Ingram. I bet you any money it's something to do with me. In fact, I know what it is, Ingram. I know exactly what it is. Right, got you. I've got you, Ingram. It's me. I always have a habit of pressing the mute button in the Google Chrome tab. It's always me. I'm a muppet. All right, Ingram. We're glad to have you back on the show, brother. We're going to talk. Not too bad. We're going to talk about the Blue Do-Rag Man later on, aka Anthony Yarde. The Blue Do-Rag Man. It's one of the worst matches.
Wait. Not only him, you've got Buatsi versus Bivol. So those two, Bivol and Buatsi, Yarde versus Beterbiev, they're both criminal. Those fights should never be happening. But that is legal murder for them two guys. Legal murder.
Do you know what? Honestly, I will say this. I think the thing with Bivol is at least Bivol's not a killer. He's a great boxer. You can punch, you can hurt you. But Beterbiev, no one's ever gonna disrespect this man. This man is lethal.
Wait, Beterbiev will hit you with one shot, knock you out, you go to sleep. Bivol's going to hit you with 5, 6, 7 punches. So which would you rather, get knocked out flat by one punch by Beterbiev, or do you want to get hit with a combination of punches, which Buatsi will get hit with by Bivol? Man, you don't want any of that. You don't want any of that.
But before, we'll get onto that later. So before we get into it, let me just ask you. Answer this quickly, and then we'll move on and get onto Yarde, and then we'll answer Josh, and we'll come back to this. In one word, who's got more of a chance? Yarde of beating Beterbiev or Buatsi of beating Bivol?
Bro, they're terrible, absolutely terrible mismatches. I mean, 258 management must not like Buatsi, because, I mean, if they did like him, they'd keep him well away from Bivol.
All right. We'll talk about it later on. I'm going to go with Buatsi. I think Buatsi's got way more of a chance. I think Yarde's got listen, Tunde Ajayi's listened to this show before. I like Tunde. I've got no problem with Tunde. If Tunde Ajayi and Anthony Yarde beat Beterbiev, then for me, Tunde Ajayi and Billy Nelson, one of those two has to be Ring Magazine Coach of the Year. I don't care what anyone says. If they give it to Joe Gallagher, yeah,
No,
then they can give it to Tunde.
it's not that. Listen, if Yarde or Boazzi had fought, then wait. Like, neither of those guys are European champions. So at least if those guys had fought for a European title, I'm not saying if they'd won a European title it made a difference, but the fact they would have fought on the European scene, won a European title, and gone and genuinely been world title contenders, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. But none of those guys
both skipped domestic level, Ingram.
They've skipped. They should have been fighting one another. I mean,
Callum Johnson.
There you go, Callum Johnson.
Warren's got them in house and he won't make it. Frank's got these motherfuckers in house and he won't. Anyway, Ingram, let me not spoil it. Let me just move on to this. Right, We'll crack on. Right, we'll talk about the blue do-rag man, Anthony Yarde, in just a sec. Yeah, if you're here on the channel, please hit like, please hit subscribe. I'll put Ingram's page up in a sec. If you don't like and you don't hit the subscribe button, you know what's going to happen.
What's going to happen? I was dead. You're dead.
There you go. All right, let's talk about this man here then, yeah? Right, Ingram, let me bring this up.
Oh no. I've only got one word to say. It's not even a word, I'm just gonna do it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Go on, Ingram. Go on.
That's it.
Go on.
And Usyk just looked at him like, who the hell do you think you are? Like, you're not the landlord no more, bro. You're not the landlord no more. Eddie gives the cue. Eddie gives the cue. Joshua ignores him. Eddie gives the cue. Joshua follows instructions. And then he tries to make Usyk follow instructions. I found the whole thing quite embarrassing, to be quite honest.
I try not to read too much into this stuff, but I'm just going
I
what
understand.
other people have said. God, what do you think about? We'll get onto the selfies in a second.
Look at this. I mean, I criticised Joshua heavily for the first fight, with the selfies and the tour of London he was given to Usyk and how he thought the Ukrainian people were wonderful people and he thought they're great. But watch this. This is the baddest man on the planet. Watch. The baddest man on the planet. Look at Usyk. And that look he gave him is the way he looked at Tony Bellew. Do you remember when he looked at Tony Bellew?
Why is that funny? I don't know why that's funny, but that's funny.
Like, really? I'm gonna mess you up again. I'll mess you up. No, I'm really gonna mess you up this time. Now you're giving cues. I'm gonna mess you up. Look at him. Look at how Usyk's looking at him. Oh man. I just no. It's like, how do you like your heavyweight champions of the world, or even your former heavyweight champions of the world? I mean,
come on, Ingram. I think you're being a bit unfair there. I think if you look at history, hold on. Let me say, look at guys like Evander Holyfield. They would have taken selfies with the opponents going to the ring, wouldn't they? Mike Tyson would have taken selfies with the opponents going to the ring. Lennox Lewis would have taken selfies with the opponents going to the ring. Look, Ingram. Look at this. Look at the screen. Look. I've seen Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield never went to war, yeah, in any of his fights. Like, this is what he used to do with his opponents, yeah, before his fucking title fights.
I spoke about this on my show on yesterday, and somebody said, "What they say? Mayweather would have taken selfies, Tyson would have taken selfies, but because social media wasn't around at that time, Mike would have taken selfies." Said, "Yeah, right. Of course he would have done."
I'm not convinced about that.
No, I'm not convinced
those
at all.
guys.
No,
those
hell
guys
no.
are about it. But Ingram, what gets me? I'll let you talk. What gets me is Anthony Joshua in his first interview with IFL TV after he got beat. He said, "I've got murder on my mind." That's why me and Shevin came up with a joke here. Do you know Murder
That's
Inc.
a song. That's a song.
That's a song.
Murder on my mind. That's a song or a lyric, isn't it?
Yeah, it coming out of rap bars. So that's why me and Shevin started playing Ja Rule songs. It's murder and doing Murder Inc. Because AJ was still saying he got murder in his mind. But let me ask you a genuine question. It's to AJ. He's got murder in his mind, but in the next minute, then he's doing this. Look, I mean, Ingram, which is it? Have you got? Are you a killer?
Okay. Now watch this. Well, I said this already. That's the photograph they need to put, and DAZN need to put it on their pay-per-view. Rage on the Red Sea. That one right there. 1999. Get your tickets now. Rage on the Red Sea.
Oh, carry on, Ingram. Carry on.
AJ's back and he's hungrier than ever. AJ's back and he's hungrier than ever. Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. The rage is real. The beef is real. You can see it between the two men. AJ's been training like a monster and he's coming back for his titles. All right, mate. All right, whatever, mate. Just put that there. When you decide to think about pay-per-view, just look at that picture there. And then put that rage on the Red Sea. I mean, you don't even know what is Usyk taking a photograph? Is that a selfie? Or is he saying, you see that 12th round there? I was bossing up on that 12th round. That's what you're going to get more of that. Nobody knows what's on that. Is that really a selfie? We think it's a selfie, but we don't know what Usyk's doing there. He could be showing him a video.
Yeah, it could be showing him a video, but knowing Anthony Joshua's background, yeah.
Oh, no,
listen.
Yeah. Oh, listen. Robert Garcia needs to be sacked right now. Do you know what Robert Garcia said? Garcia first of all said he had mental problems.
He did say that.
He said he's got mental problems. He said that he don't believe in himself. The latest thing he's come out and said is that I've been giving AJ notes, and AJ's been taking those notes and reading those notes. I'm like, this.
What notes do you think they are?
The notes that AJ's in the gym and Garcia's telling him what to do in the gym, and AJ's taking those notes.
Oh, okay.
And he's taking them notes down. Like, I'm like,
do you remember the last time? Do you remember the last time somebody wrote a note and handed it over to Anthony Joshua? Anthony Joshua ended up reading the notes and he said, "Don't shop in white people's shops." Do you remember that? All right, look at that. Carry on, I'm just being naughty. That's the last time in a year. That's the last time. That's the last time somebody had Anthony Joshua a note. Yeah, there was someone written on it. He just reread it out, innit? We ended up with the infamous BLM moment. Don't shop in white people's shops. By the way, Ingram, I presume DAZN's a black-owned company because we're only investing in black-owned businesses. So I'm assuming DAZN is a black-owned. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Well, you thought he would have gone and signed with Al Heyman in that case.
Well, there you go. But it is what it is. Well, listen, Ingram? I mean, what did Bashir say? I mean, I haven't really been following it too much because we've been talking about this for about a year. But what has Bashir said about how Anthony Joshua was actually doing in camp, how he's looked, and blah blah blah?
He said that Anthony Joshua certainly got the power to stop Usyk. He's got the power to do it.
Absolutely.
It's how he goes about his business is what is the concern. And already, just stuff I'm seeing already. Forget Bashir, stuff that Garcia's saying are like criminal. You don't let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. Look at this. Now let me ask another question to everyone that's listening today. What happened to COVID?
I have no idea. But you've got to be careful. Don't get me banned off YouTube. Carry on.
No, I'm just asking a question. Just asking a question. What in terms of social distancing and stuff like that? These guys here in a crowd, all these guys have been tested. I'm only concerned in terms. I'm only concerned because even these guys now could catch something. Joshua could get it, or Usyk could get it.
Very good point.
This stuff is dangerous.
And listen, this is like $100 million fight for fuck's sake. $100 million fight. Just to let you know, Ingram, somebody on social media saw Anthony Joshua doing this and said Anthony Joshua was about to scream Ali Boumbaye, and start running through the crowd. That is kind of an AJ thing to do. But yeah, carry on. How's he? Listen. I'm still going to go with AJ in the rematch. I still think he's going to find a way because I think the judges will make sure that if he gets the distance, it is what it is. But I don't know. How much do you think we can read into his demeanor, Ingram? I've never been one to look into these things too much, but you did say the last time this fight came around, you came on this show and you said, heavyweight champions of the world don't really behave the way that Anthony Joshua's behaving per se. I mean, obviously we've got some anomalies like Tyson Fury and stuff. But to be fair to Fury, even when
Tyson's different.
Yeah, he's different.
He's different. But I've known it since 2013. He's different. Tyson Fury can throw about 5 different faces at you. Tyson Fury today the ball is blue, and tomorrow he'll come back and say, "I never said that. The blue's now green," and then he'll come back the next day and say it's pink, and then he'll turn around and say, "No, it's red again." Don't worry about Tyson Fury. The one you really got to worry about here is AJ, because AJ, as far as I look at it, has got a bit of an identity crisis going on here. That's from what I think. What is he? Is he a boxer? Is he a puncher? What is AJ? Who is he? Is he? I mean, what is his character? I mean, is he a bad man? I mean, is he not a bad
exactly.
man?
Is
he
he
a nice
humble
guy?
or is he a roadman? I can't work it out. Is he humble or roadman? Which one is it?
What exactly? So we don't know what he is. We don't know what he is. I don't even know if he knows what he is. And now we're talking about Mexican style. Where did Mexican style come into it?
Is he upside down? Is he straight up? Is he what? Is he upside down? Is he not? You know the upside down.
Yeah. I'm lost. And people say I'm hating on AJ. It's not hating on AJ. It's that you see a guy that's got so much potential, you think he could do so much more, and then he comes out and makes statements like, I know what I'm doing, I'm a calculated guy. I'm like, the only thing that's calculated here is that DAZN and him signed that deal, right? And that deal, just like I was talking about the Ruiz rematch. When the Ruiz rematch came out, I met a guy on the train going back to my place. I live in Worthing. That was on the train. He was on Haywards Heath. He was getting off Haywards Heath, and we were talking. He said, "By any means necessary, Anthony Joshua will become heavyweight champion of the world." He looked me in the eye again. Looked at me, said, "Without doubt." So now this deal has happened with always 100 million, whatever it is, with DAZN and Anthony Joshua. Are they really going to invest 100 million in a guy that is just gonna, there's so much money on the line. So unless the left hand of Usyk connects, I cannot see Usyk going to points with AJ unless he's been dropped 4 or 5 times in the fight. I cannot see Usyk win this fight on points. No way. Not with so much money on the table. He has to knock Joshua out.
Do you know what's interesting? I mean, I don't want to get too much into the TV side, but a few people have been tweeting me about these days. When people tweet me or email me or send me things about DAZN, it just goes straight to the recycle bin, guys. So I just tell you now, don't even bother with DAZN with me. But I will say this: apparently, they haven't even got the fight, or apparently, it's the Saudis that have the TV rights. And apparently, if you look at the posters for AJ versus Usyk, there's no DAZN logo on any of the posters or any of the marketing for the fight so far. And that's what people are saying. Now, Richard from Twitter will probably know the answer, yes or no. Richard, just confirm for that. I'll try and find it in a second. But apparently on the posters, which I'll try and get up in a second for this fight, there's no DAZN logo in any of them. And people have been tweeting me this week saying, Ultra, the reason why is because the Saudis have the rights. And so they will decide who the rights go to. So the rights are probably still up. Apparently, the rights for that fight are still up for grabs. So it's not actually a guarantee. That's what I was told, that this fight will actually be on DAZN. But I don't know if I'm talking bollocks. Somebody in the chat, let me know if that's the case or not. I'm just going to try and get the posters up. Oh, carry on, Ingram. Sorry about that.
That's all right. So so with that deal, I don't know how influential it is on a fight, but I'm not sure if Usyk's the kind of guy that can be influenced like that.
Just out of interest, guys, if you look at the DAZN logo there that we mentioned, they're doing a fight in Saudi Arabia and they've got a fucking pride flag. I mean, if he ever was... Go on.
You're wrong.
No, I'm just saying. It just shows you. I mean, DAZN is being a fucking clown show I'll just be honest, it's a clown show from top to bottom. And then you rock up in fucking Saudi Arabia with a fucking pride flag. Fingers crossed, yeah, on Fight Night. They're that fucking stupid. They'll probably put this on the bloody ring canvas. And then there'll be heads flying off all over the place. Carry on, Ingram.
Well, as Bob Brown once said, it is dead zone. Nobody knows what. They call it dead zone, not DAZN. Dead zone. Who's dead zone attached to? I mean, it's like, I don't know. Anyway, I hope Joshua, for him to win this fight, he's got to get Usyk out there early. He's got to hit him with something early, and I hope that Usyk's mind is not in the fight. Usyk's been having to go for a few problems. His wife and his family had to be relocated because they broke into his house the first time round, and he thought that was a secure location. He had to move the family out of that into another location, and the Russians have been threatening Usyk's wife as well. So he's been having a bit of a hard time, Mr. Usyk.
I tell you, I can't imagine what that guy's been going through, because I don't want to go into the details, but I've been following it, and there's some serious atrocities that are taking place over there. So
yeah.
They're not playing. The last place you want your wife to be is around these guys. It's very, very serious situation. Obviously, people are saying to me that he's not on the front line. He's not on the front line, but guess what?
No.
You know, he'll be on he'll know people who are on the front line who have lost their lives.
Yeah,
So we've met
yeah,
people
yeah,
and served with people who
yeah,
are going
yeah,
out
yeah,
into the front line and they're not
yeah,
coming
yeah,
back.
yeah,
Do
yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So it's a
yeah,
very,
yeah.
very, very, very serious situation. And I will say,
And go on.
no, carry on, Ingram, carry on.
And I'm saying that when he looks at Anthony Joshua,
Yeah, I'll get that back up exactly.
he's been training. Oh, Anthony Joshua's training for a boxing fight, a
Yeah.
professional boxing fight. This guy's been to war fighting for his country. And I said before, the money that he'll win in this fight, the money he win, to me, Usyk's the kind of guy, the money he wins for this fight, he will donate all that money to his country. That's the kind of man Alexander Usyk is. And when he's looking at him, you look at what he's looking at him, he's looking at a guy that Usyk is a very, very intelligent guy. And don't let the media fool you into thinking this guy doesn't understand English. Oh, he understands English. Well, I said this about Canelo. He understands English very well. When I did a live show with him,
absolutely.
when I did a live show with him back here, just before he was challenging for the WBO world title, I did a live show on YouTube and Usyk was on the show. And we're in their kind of camp in a living room with him and a couple of his other Ukrainian teammates. And you could tell he understands English. His English is better than you actually think it is. But he plays the game. He plays the game very well, just like Canelo.
Do you know what,
like
Ingram?
Canelo. Yeah.
Do you know what? It's I don't want to give out too much information, but I will say this. Look, it's a very, very common trick here from people who speak multiple languages, right? To pretend they don't understand English, so that they can kind of get a read on what you're saying. I know people in my family that do that all the time, that pretend that they don't actually understand English, so that you speak in English so they can hear what you're saying. Exactly.
Yeah.
You
even watch Usyk when they're talking. You watch how he cranks his neck round to look at Joshua. Joshua starts to talk, and Usyk turns his head round to listen to what Joshua got to say. You don't crank your head round like that if you don't understand what a man is saying. If you're go on.
No, carry on. No, finish off. You finish up. Go on.
Yeah, so you don't crank your head round like when a guy's talking. If you're speaking Japanese, I'm gonna look at you. I think, what's he talking about?
Yeah.
You know, a press conference. Like, what's going on? I'm kind of like, what's going on here? But when a guy starts to talk, oh yeah, we're just gonna talk to Anthony Joshua. You'll see him crank his head and look at Joshua. And then I'm thinking to myself, you know, if you don't understand the English, what are you doing that for? You know.
Who do you think's the most intelligent person in this room? We've got Igas Kilmas, we've got Alexander Usyk, and we've got Michelle Joy Phelps in this room. Okay, and this is the famous video where Michelle Joy Phelps asks Igas Kilmas why the rematch can't take place in Ukraine. If you just look at Usyk's face,
only fans. That's it.
If you would like to join Michelle Joy Phelps OnlyFans, please listen. She's gonna do bigger numbers than Tony Bellew actually. Do you remember Tony Bellew's OnlyFans? Where's that going on with that? Tony Bellew's OnlyFans. I mean, yeah, he's got a big set of tits, but I'm not sure that's what people are going on OnlyFans to subscribe for. But it is what it is. But Tony Bellew, it is what it is.
You know, I met Michelle Joy Phelps years before she got into boxing. She was when she was actually modeling, and then we spoke over Twitter. And she said, "I'm thinking about going into boxing." I think you do pretty well because I think you're a good-looking girl. Guys are gonna like that. You'll do well for yourself. You know, just do your research on the whole boxing thing, and you'll be all right. Yeah. She's done all right for herself, to be fair.
Yeah, without doing any research. So listen, you got to give her the go on that one because she's got a lot of these going for her, but I ain't quite sure research is it. All right, Ingram, before we move on, just to quickly say a quick Tony Bellew antidote. I can't find the fucking tweet, but I'm reliably informed that Tony Bellew turned up to a prison in Liverpool a couple of weeks ago to see one of his friends who's in prison. I'm told that Tony Bellew turned up and he came with a pre-written or pre-autographed set of like kit or letters or whatever. So he walked into the prison to go and see his friend, and he had a bunch of gear that was already pre-autographed. And he began to go into the prison. He started handing out pre-autographed gear to members of staff and people on site, and then he went to go and see his friend. So that just kind of tells you where Tony Bellew's mind at. The man goes into prison. This is the man who says, I want to be alone. I want to keep a low profile. This man can't even do a prison visit. without turning up here with pre-signed, getting this man turned up with pre-autographed gear.
I said this a while ago. I said that when you start seeing your UK celebrities in media, in boxing, doing strange things, begin to wonder why. And there's a situation now of Mr. Fury not allowed to go to America. You have a situation now where they've got a bounty on a certain man's head, and there are people who are connected to that. And when it was all going well, it was okay. Now it's not going so well. People are trying to ease their head out the lion's mouth. And you see, it's not as easy as that, you know? So when you see these people doing things that they're doing, thinking, why would you do that? Why would you do this? Why are you doing that? Why would you go on OnlyFans? You're doing well in boxing. I mean, why would you do such things? And then you think, the money's not coming in the way it used to come in. Why is the money not coming in the way it used to come in? What were you doing about it? So there's questions to be asked. Not my business, but questions to be asked.
All right, then. All right, Ingram. Right, so we'll move on to other things in a second. All right, before we...
yes. Julius Francis, my good friend.
Well, we'll get on to that. We'll get on to that in a second. He's just with Anthony Yarde, the blue do-rag man there. We'll talk about that in a second. Before we get on to that, Ingram, as it stands, if you had to predict... In fact, Ingram, before we move on to different topics, guys, sorry, I've been ignoring the chat. If you have a question on Usyk and Anthony Joshua that you want to ask Ingram, put it in the chat right this second and we'll quickly answer it before we move on to the state of British boxing and the blue do-rag man. We've also got to talk about Ben Shalom. The amount of fucking shit I... listen, do you know how much shit I get? You'd be surprised. People come to me and tell me the dumbest shit, yeah? And you'd be surprised how much of it revolves around boxers. So we'll talk about that in just a bit and go through their roster there. I think at the minute there, what have they got in terms of the heavyweight division? They've got Joseph Parker and the future of boxing, aka Steve USSR Robinson, who unfortunately has had to obviously change his nickname due to the ongoing conflicts. That name USSR ain't going down too well. You had to quickly take that name down before the bank accounts. They start freezing his bank accounts. A
career has ended before it's begun.
Let's talk. One's are checking if he's got legs to boot in. Steve USSR. Carry on.
Inactive. I think he's on box rec now. Inactive.
Yeah, honestly, Jesus Christ. Oh dear. All right. Listen, I like Steve. You know, honestly, I like him. I think I've never had a problem with him. It's just obviously the people around him. Obviously, certain people around him obviously have got their heads up in the cloud. But it is what it is. Right, we'll move on. Has anybody got any quick questions here on Usyk? This one here. Assuming Usyk turns up injury free and armed with the knowledge and confidence he gained from the first fight, how does AJ beat Usyk? What should his game plan be? I think, Ingram, you've answered that 500 times. Answer it again for Charlie if you can.
Did I answer that question?
I think you've answered it on previous shows, but but go on. How does AJ beat an Usyk who kind of has already been in the ring with him, done the 12 with him, got knowledge, gained confidence, knows kind of what Anthony Joshua is capable of? How does AJ go about it?
If AJ, first of all, if AJ, it's a mental thing. I don't think it's a physical thing at all. I think he could train all day long and all night long. He's just got to be mentally switched on for this fight. And I don't know, when they talk, he's got mental problems. I think there's a lack of belief AJ has, and that's coming from Robert Garcia. So it's mental with AJ. I don't think it's physical. I think it's a mental thing. And I think he has a problem with guys that's like Ruiz and now Usyk are small guys. When the small guys run up on him, he seems to have a problem with it.
I'll tell you one thing. Something. Carry on. Please carry on. Sorry. No. Please carry on. Please carry on. Sorry.
I really believe if Usyk went onto the front foot from round one, it would spin AJ's head. If he came out on the first round, stepped to AJ and pushed him back, all the AJ plans get ruined. If he decides, if Usyk decides, right, you're getting it from round 13, I'm stepping to you. Round one, I'm stepping to you. I'm taking the fight to you. Because nobody wants to talk about that. Everyone's talking about, all AJ has to do, he has to be aggressive, go to the body. If Usyk comes forward, what happens early? Because we know AJ doesn't fight great off the back foot. He's a front foot fighter. And when you hit AJ and you hurt AJ, he smiles, which is another thing Robert Garcia has pulled up about. He said, AJ, when AJ's hurt, he smiles. He's got to stop smiling. Some of the things Robert Garcia is talking about, he's not going to fix in 2 months. He's not fixing that in 2 months. AJ, when you get hit on the chin, you smile. That's something that's subconscious. That's internal. That's not something that you can go in the gym. Okay, right. You get hit on the chin. Don't smile. That's something internal. That's something internal. And that's a script. You understand? I don't believe Robert Garcia can change that. But so AJ's got to be mentally in this fight. That's where it is. Not physical, mental.
We'll see. I think this is the fight that will define if he's a non-top fighter or not. I tell you one thing. All I know is this: if you look at Usyk here, this ain't no fucking Andy Ruiz. That's all I can tell you, man. That's what I'm saying. This is no. You look at it. This is no Andy Ruiz. This ain't no Andy Ruiz, man. So like, this ain't no Andy Ruiz.
That's it. So all them guys saying, "Oh yeah, he just has to go in there and box like he did against Andy Ruiz." Well, good luck with that. That's what he did the first fight. Didn't work out so well.
Usyk's a completely different human being. All right then. All right. Let's carry on. Mark Stanton, we're moving on. Mark Stanton says, "Is USSR Robinson sticking with the Dolph Lundgren theme, like calling himself Universal Soldier?" Do you know what it is? Honestly, Steve Robinson. Let me tell you about Steve Robinson quickly, and I'll say this on the record. Very, very good guy. I think the coach Mark Clausel comes across a very, very good guy, knowledgeable guy. Trained with Manny Pacquiao. I think he's done quite a few rounds sparring with Manny Pacquiao, quite a few rounds in the wildcard gym. So never had a problem with Steve Robinson. The only reason I make jokes is because obviously, certain individuals around him made claims about, how far he was going to go in this sport. And no disrespect, he was clearly a raw novice. And as somebody who's actually been in boxing gyms and spent 7 years around raw novices, and as somebody who is himself a raw novice who can hardly peel a fucking carrot with his jab, I'm telling you, I know a raw novice when I see one, because I'm a raw novice and I spar with raw novices every other fucking week. And the guy's a raw novice. He was never the future of the heavyweight division. So like I said before, I've got nothing but respect for Steve Robinson. I'm glad he's changed his name away from USSR. I'm glad he's changed that name. It's not just the name, it's the look, isn't it? It's the blonde hair, it's the shorts with the sickle and the hammer. They have to take them shorts off as well.
What is he going to do now? What is he going to do?
That whole gimmick's going to have to go. Do you know what I mean? That whole gimmick's going to have to go. Maybe we can put him in some kind of Ted DiBiase $1 Million Man gimmick. I don't know. We'll see. Give him the $1 Million belt and do whatever. Right, let's move on. Let's move on to this, Ingram. Let's move on to Anthony Yarde, yeah? This is what Anthony Yarde, versus Artur Beterbiev is going to look like, in my opinion. Anthony Yarde, a.k.a., there you go, the blue do-rag man, yeah? And listen, if you just imagine that, I think Beterbiev and Julius Francis look pretty similar, if you ask me. I think same power, same kind of power, that's for sure. How would you rank this as far as mismatches go?
Oh, it's a great right hand, by the way. It was a great right hand.
As far as mismatches go, Ingram, on a scale of 1 to 10, Yarde and Beterbiev. Yarde, as you said, for me, should be fighting Callum Johnson, right? That's how it should be happening. But I think what's happened here is you can see Bob Arum doesn't want Bivol to fight Beterbiev on the zone. So they need Beterbiev to have a stay busy fight because they want Bivol to have his little fight with Matchroom, get that out of the way, and then maybe I think he becomes a free agent after that. Then they can do the Bivol Beterbiev fight on their own terms. So I think that's part of the reason why we're not seeing Bivol on Beterbiev next year, because Bivol's got a fight to go with Matchroom. But what the fuck has Anthony Yarde got to do with this? I mean, I like Anthony Yarde.
I love Anthony Yarde. First as a man, never mind as a fighter. As a man.
Oh yeah. He'll fight anybody. He will fight anybody. But Ingram, people were saying he was scared to fight Hosea Burton. He will fight anybody. Anthony Yarde. He's proven that. I mean, he will fight anyone.
He's like Anthony Yarde's like that big brother you'd have. Like if you ever had a problem, you'd go to Anthony Yarde. He's that kind of man. And he'd look after you. He's that kind of man. You know what I mean? And I got a lot of respect for Anthony Yarde. I like who he is and what he's done and what he's trying to do with his life. But I don't like the way he's been guided. Straight up. This fight, Beterbiev, no. You got a guy who's seen nearly every style in boxing, and you got a guy in Yarde that I think could be a superstar in boxing if they managed him right. Yeah, he's one of those guys. I think he could do really well, but I don't like it. I would like to see Yarde win a European title. I'd like to see Yarde win a British title. No mind the European. I'd like to see him win a British title, win the European title, and then get world ranked that way. Then fight. And that's all right. You know what? You got your British title, you got your European title, you made a bit of money of that. Now you're taking a shot at Beterbiev. Good luck, mate.
Do you know?
But,
what do you think about this? Listen, I don't think it's all Frank. This is the thing. People are going to say Ultra's capping for Frank. I think Frank's at fault, absolutely, because he shouldn't be doing a fucking fight. But listen, at the end of the day, the ultimate decision is with Tunde. Frank's not going in there and telling Tunde Ajayi, listen, you're fighting Beterbiev. Tunde's the manager, and Tunde's the one who's taking that decision. And Tunde's standing with him. Tunde is standing with Anthony Yarde. These two are both ringside. Yeah, they're both ringside watching Beterbiev. And these two genuinely think he's going to win. So it's not a fight that he's been forced into by Frank Warren. I agree. Frank Warren should be talking them out of it. He shouldn't be involved in it. He shouldn't be anywhere near Beterbiev. He shouldn't be in the same city as Beterbiev. But I mean, look. I mean, it's just
same city, same freaking country. Bro, no, I'm sorry.
I mean,
right, not being funny. You're doing the shoulder roll and still getting hit.
Yeah.
Now you do the shoulder and you get hit with right hand, and then you're gonna go and fight this guy who's gonna hit you with right hands all night long. Oh Lord. Okay, so let me ask you a question. So what was the fight beforehand for him to get the fight against Beterbiev? Somebody tell me.
Fucking hell. He fought Linden. He beat Linden. I like Linden. Do you know what I got in contact? I'll tell you something quickly. I got in contact. Somebody who listens to the show who I had no idea. They were all up in the show last weekend. I'm not going to mention names, but one of the guys was in the chat on the last show. He's related to Lyndon Arthur.
I love Lyndon Arthur.
I love him. He sent me a picture and he goes, my brother went to Canada and sparred Beterbiev. I said, your brother's a fucking animal. I'm surprised he lived to tell the tale. And he goes, give me your email address. I'm going to send you an email. And it's fucking Lyndon. It's him in the room. He's wearing Lyndon's belts. He's wearing Lyndon's Commonwealth title and all his belts. So yeah, it's one of Lyndon Arthur's family. Listen,
I always thought that second fight, when he was talking about the contract and being unhappy, he was pissed at the start of for the rematch and why they didn't want to take that fight with Yarde. They really didn't want that fight. It was like, to me, I just didn't think Lyndon Arthur's heart was in that fight. I really didn't. I think it was just a fight he went through, but I don't think his heart was in it.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. So in terms of a scale of 1 to 10, how bad of a rematch is this? 1 to 10. For me, this is for me. It's between this and McKinson and fucking Virgil Ortiz, and this to me is so much worse. This is bad.
No.
This is bad.
When Gatti fought that guy, Joey Gamachi,
right? Not ever, but this year involving a British fighter. That's what I'm saying. This year involving a British fighter. To me, this is the worst mismatch I've seen this year involving a British fighter. I can't think of a worse one.
All right, okay. If you're okay, let's put it to one side a second. So we think this is a dreadful matchup. I think it's a dreadful matchup. I think it's a dreadful matchup because he hasn't had the experience yet.
Exactly.
If he'd fought European level, he'd won the European belt, made a few defenses of European belt, we could see where Yarde is. We could say, all right, we've seen the improvements, we've seen him grow. But this situation just almost throwing him to the wolves.
He's not very active, is he? He's not very active, is he?
That's the thing as well. That's the thing. But okay, let's look at this in an optimistic point of view. Let's be positive. He's a Brit. He's one of us. Let's be positive.
Go on, man. Yeah. If he can get
right. So we had when I talked about Canelo, I had a problem with the jab when he fought Kovalev. People laughed in my face. I said, if he had a problem with the jab against Kovalev, he's going to have a bigger problem against Bivol. They laughed at me. We saw what happened. If Anthony Yarde has got a problem with the jab against Kovalev, God forbid, he's now going to have a problem with Bivol, with Beterbiev.
Yeah.
He's going to have a real problem because Beterbiev can jab. He's got, he can punch. He can box. He's good on his feet. If Yarde's to win this fight, for me, he's gonna have to somewhere back Beterbiev against the ropes, get him against the ropes, and land a big right hand and hope that he can hurt Beterbiev, because that's it. But Beterbiev has been dropped by guys of
hurt
lesser.
Bad by Callum Johnson. Hurt bad by Callum Johnson.
Yeah. That's it. That's why
bad.
I wasn't a big. I wasn't a big fan, and I'm telling the truth. Even up to my preview of the Beterbiev Joe Smith fight, I wasn't a big fan of him. But I said, if Joe Smith goes through the front door and goes to charge Beterbiev, he's getting knocked out quick, and we saw what happened. So it's what is going to be Anthony Yarde's game plan?
If he gets into the later rounds of Beterbiev and doesn't get hurt too bad, it's a win for him. Like, for me, I'm just being honest. For me, the ceiling for Yarde is get in, get out, get your money, and don't get smashed. Because Richard's saying Frank's putting on a show in London with a unified light heavyweight champion headlining. Yarde, Tunde, and Frank do numbers. It's a win for Frank. My worry is that Yarde will get hurt in this fight, because Beterbiev can hurt people. He can permanently hurt people. He can put dents in you going forward. He can put dents in your career. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's my worry, is that the gap in class, Look, amateur boxing and pro boxing is completely different, but we all know about Beterbiev's got, extraordinary amateur experience. I saw a clip of him in the fucking Olympics just bashing around Usyk. I mean, you can see Usyk was feeling him, really just fucking bashing him up there, in a little clip I saw. Usyk really struggling with the power of Beterbiev, and this is a guy who obviously went in to go in later on and clean out Anthony Joshua. So, Beterbiev's a guy who's got very, very seasoned in the sport, been a world champion for a long time. Been in big fights, been hurt, been dropped, come back. Yarde doesn't have any of that, and I just think this has got, fortunately, and like I said, I would love nothing more, but I will be rooting for Yarde to win. Absolutely,
of course.
I will be rooting for Anthony Yarde to win, and I will happily come on here and I will say I've got it wrong. But I have to call it how I see it, because if this was Matchroom making this fight, we'd be saying the same shit. It's got disaster written all over it. Final words on it, Ingram, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
I don't know. It's my bro, man. It's my brother there. I don't want to see him get hurt.
That's it.
But you see, Yarde he's physically big and he's strong and he looks sturdy. He looks like he can take a shot or two. But then so did Joe Smith. We all know how that ended. And that's Joe Smith, who's got more experience.
I don't read too much into people say Yarde got finished off a jab. Forget that. I don't care.
No, he was gassed. He was exhausted.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody who's been in the ring knows that's bullshit. Oh, Yarde got stopped off a jab. Yeah, mate. Yeah, but when you're in the ring and you're gassed off your peanut,
but wait, Yarde got stopped the same way that Nigel Benn got stopped off a jab. Michael Watson fight. Go back and watch it. Okay. And Ben had emptied the gas tank there as well.
Empty the gas tank, yeah. So I don't know what people are yapping on about there. It's simple as that. If you're gassed in a boxing ring, it is what it is, isn't it? So it is what it is. Yeah. All right then. In the meantime, we'll talk about that. I'm just trying to get up, and I can't find it here, and because I'm absolutely ill prepared as usual. Your man Trevor Bryan. Now we'll start off with Don King before we get onto this clown Trevor Bryan. Let's start off with Don King. Let me get this up actually. 1 second, Ingram. I have.
By the way. That's what I was going to remind you. I was going to tell you, Beterbiev has plans to move up to heavyweight.
Okay.
There you go. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I don't know. I've seen a lot of Beterbiev fights, but I forget them very quickly. I have no idea. Heavyweight's 2 classes above. So it's from cruiserweight to heavy. I don't know if his power will carry, because he's going from cruiserweight to heavy.
Michael Moore.
The guys at heavy are huge.
Well, Michael Moore went from light heavyweight, KOing everybody, and went up to heavyweight.
The only thing I will say is, I don't know anything about boxing issues. I could be completely wrong. The only thing I will say is heavyweights of this time are just significantly bigger. They're a different breed than what they were in that time now. I mean, you've got guys that are fucking 6'8", 6'9". You've got guys that are 270.
Can I bring you back to a fight? Michael Moore, Mike the Giant White. Mike the Giant White was 7'1" or 7'2", and Michael Moore was like 6'1". One left up later, Mike the Giant White was timber.
All right. So you think Beterbiev could do something at heavyweight? You think he's got the power to this?
Well, I would not want to be the heavyweight getting hit on the chin by Beterbiev. That's what he'll be bringing speed up. He'll be bringing speed up from the into the heavyweight division. Like not everybody moves like Tyson Fury, so they'll be there to get hit, and their punch will become much slower. So
we'll see.
Good luck to anybody who wants to take that Beterbiev power.
Well, I'm sure Anthony Joshua will take a shot and just laugh in his face. Anthony McKen says, and Alstrep doesn't know much about 90s boxing. To be honest, I don't. That's probably because there's a logical reason for that. If you think about why I might not know. There you go. See? There you go. There you go. See, just simple. It's just simple, Anthony McKen. There, it's just simple stuff. Just start off with the, you start off with Spot the Dog. Start off with Spot the Dog, and then we start with Crayola, and then we move on to Play-Doh, and then we start using pens, and then we just we evolve and we just start moving on, and that's how we do it. Right, let's have a look at Frank here. Here we go.
That fight with Trevor Bryan. We do know the history with Don King as well, so we'll have to ask you in terms of Daniel's financial situation for that fight. Is that all sorted? His purse?
Well, his purse is due, and I'm sure it'll be get paid within the next few days. It's due. It was due at the weekend, so I expect it to come in. Well, he's expecting it. His management are expecting it to come in the next couple of days.
There you go. That was Frank Warren a couple of days ago, yeah? Daniel Dubois. Listen, I've been making jokes all week, yeah, about Daniel Dubois because I think everybody knew that Daniel Dubois wasn't getting paid other than Daniel Dubois. Everybody knew that Daniel Dubois was the only person who didn't know he wasn't going to get paid. I covered that fight live, yeah? And we were all making fun of the crowd, yeah, and the amount of people that turned up, yeah? Do you know what I mean? It was what it was, wasn't it? I mean, the event, look, let's be honest. I know you've got ties with Stacey McKinley and whatnot, but let's just be honest, yeah? Stacey McKinley wasn't running the event, yeah? So I think we can do this. Let's be real, yeah? It looked like something out of a fucking gala bingo hall, didn't it? It looked like something out of a gala bingo hall. At best, you know?
Bro. It was retro. That's what we call it. Retro.
Trevor Bryan, your man Trevor Bryan, bringing some retro tampons to the fucking, for the weigh-in.
All you needed was King Vision in the King Vision in the corner with the crown spinning around. That was it. Those people who are obviously a little older will remember King Vision. That was when Don King was in his heyday.
Oh my God. It was what it was. I'm going to try and get some footage up in a minute, but what do you think about Trevor Bryan's performance there? And what do you think about Daniel Dubois going forward? Trevor Bryan was a disgrace.
I'm
saying that right now. He was a fucking disgrace. What did you call your show? What did you call your show? How to Get Knocked Out by Daniel Dubois. Special guest Trevor Bryan. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, that's what.
Let me get that up. Hold on. Carry on. Talk about it and let me get that shit up. How to Get Knocked Out by Daniel Dubois. Special guest Trevor Bryan.
How exactly? I mean, like you talk about we spent all the time breaking down. Right. If Trevor Bryan stands in front of Daniel Dubois and looks at him, he's gonna get knocked out. So what does he do?
There it is. Carry on. Yeah. Let me get up.
Oh man, it was. Oh,
it was what it was, wasn't it? It was what it was. I mean, there it is. There it is. It was what it was. I'm trying to get the weigh in. I'm gonna get the weigh in right now, and then we'll put a link to your channel. Hold on.
I just.
What do you think about Dubois' performance?
You know what hurt? You know what hurt? I tell you what hurts me. Do you know what hurts me? Right? In his camp, he had Larry Holmes in his camp, and he had Riddick Bowe in his camp. Two great boxers. You had Larry Holmes working with him on the jab. They'll talk about the jab. So I think if he got the jab, he did throw one jab at Dubois, and he backed Dubois up. If you go back and look at the fight, for as long as it lasted, he threw a jab at Dubois, and Dubois backed up. And then Trevor Bryan just looked at him for, oh my God.
Why is he, Ingram, just to start with the basics here, why is he flexing for? No, but not being disrespectful, like, to anybody. Like, he's not in bad shape, but why would you flex like that when you've got no definition or no muscle whatsoever? I don't understand what the point of that is.
Because you look better than you did before, I guess.
I guess, yeah. That's debatable.
Well, mind you, what would you prefer? That or Jerome Miller?
Oh, we'll get on to that in a minute. Yeah, we're going to talk about Jerome Miller. Well, I'll tell you what I prefer, Ingram, with all due respect. I prefer my WB heavyweight world champions of the world not to rock up here with a set of tampons in a plastic bag and begin to parade them in front of your opponent and lay them at the feet of your opponent. What on earth? Oh, excuse me. No, what are those? Not tampons, they're the other ones. I don't know. But you know what I mean. What on earth possesses the WBA interim champion of the world to go to the dollar store with a white plastic bag and bring out sanitary towels in order to show them to opponent and then get in the ring and get absolutely cleaned out like that? I mean, that has to be.
How to get knocked up by Daniel Dubois starring Trevor Bryan.
Trevor Bryan. What do you think about that?
This is going to end up on trash talking gone wrong on YouTube.
Blatantly. What do you think about Dubois? Do you think Dubois showed anything really in that fight?
No.
Carry on.
No. He's still boxing like an amateur. Still looks defensively irresponsible. And no. He looks very basic. And if George Joyce fights him again, George Joyce beats him again because he just look. It's worse than Bruno. Carry on. I'm not being disrespectful, yeah, but how long was he working with Shane McGuigan?
A couple of fights, yeah. Nothing. I agree. I see this on the live. Doesn't fake behind his shots. No inventiveness. Keeps throwing the jab, right hand, jab, right hand.
Wide open. And then when Bryan actually threw a jab, backed him up, he looked lost. Go back and look at the fight again for as long as, if you want to call it a fight, fast. But just go back. Dubois, Bryan throws a jab, and Dubois backs up like he hesitates as he gets hit with the jab. He hesitates. So I'm thinking to myself, he doesn't want to be talking about Joe Joyce again. He's talking about Dillian White.
Dillian, yeah. What about Dillian? I'll be honest with you. I think he can beat Dillian White,
I think so.
Dillian White. Because Dillian's been knocked out heavy, man. Yeah. He's been knocked out heavy a couple of times now, man. He's taken a lot of punishment in his career. And Dillian hasn't looked good in his last couple of fights. To me, Dillian didn't look very good in his fight against Povetkin in the rematch. We all know they brought Povetkin off his fucking... They took Povetkin out of a COVID unit, didn't they? They dragged Povetkin out of a COVID unit straight into a fight, didn't they? They absolutely insisted on that rematch, and he didn't look good in that fight to me. We know what happened in the Tyson Fury fight. Didn't land a punch for 6 rounds and got wiped out with a shot, and then became a walking meme for the next 2 months. And then said he was pushed over, which was also bullshit. Talk about that another time. But Dubois, I just think he's on the slide. But I do think, that's the fight. I'm surprised Dillian hasn't signed with Boxer yet, who we'll talk about in a minute. And I still think there's an outside chance he's going to end up signing an agreement with Frank. Because if you're Dillian, for me, that's the best fight out there for you. An unseasoned Daniel Dubois, in a fight where he would be the favourite to win. He wins that fight. He becomes the WBA interim champion. He gets straight back into the fold.
I said to people on my channel for the longest while, you're wasting time with Eddie Hearn with WBC. Go and fight Trevor Bryan for the WBA. They laughed at me. Why does he want to go and do that? Now Dubois won a WBA title. Like, oh, yeah, Dubois, interim champion. He's good now. He's got a WBA championship of the world. White should have been champion of the world. I'll tell you what, Dubois versus Chisora.
For what, though? For what reason?
Well, why not?
Yeah, but with Dillian, Dillian for me, Dillian's just come off a big pay-per-view fight with Tyson Fury. So if it makes more sense from a commercial perspective to do that, because there are some people out there who still believe, despite all the fucking evidence staring them in the face, that Dillian White is some kind of elite level world fighter. So maybe get more. When Derek Chisora, what does Daniel Dubois get out of beating Derek Chisora, which he will do? That'll be Derek Chisora's 13th loss. That'll be his 13th loss. He's lost to great fighters. He has lost to some serious fighters, though.
Yeah. But Derek Chisora will fight Pulev, yeah? In a great fight.
It was all about match and recycling in a second. Match and recycling. In it. Eddie Hearn's got a green bin outside of his house with all these boxes in it, and he just fucking. And every time Eddie Hearn needs a fight, Eddie Hearn goes to his back garden and goes into that green bin, gives it a little shake, and he just brings boxes out of it. And then he's drugged out Chisora and Pulev too. But British boxing's booming, Ingram. They're telling me it's booming, but carry on. Jesus Christ.
So Derek Chisora and Pulev, the winner of those two should fight Daniel Dubois.
Why?
Why not? I mean, who else do you want? Who do you want Daniel Dubois to fight and not get beat? You
Dillian
want Dubois to fight? Yeah, he'll beat Dillian White.
Absolutely. Do it on pay-per-view.
But
Go.
Yeah, but you got Chisora. Chisora hasn't been flattened the way that White's been flattened and knocked out the way that he's been knocked out, has he?
No, that's a good point. Chisora is still semi durable.
Pulev.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Pulev. Yeah, fucking horrendous. All right, we'll have to wait and see. Then she's saying Hughie Fury versus Dubois. Listen, no disrespect.
Hughie Fury's got his own issues against Michael Hunter, so that's another situation right there.
Yeah. I know you're good friends with Hughie Fury, no disrespect, but if I never saw Hughie Fury again in a boxing ring, I'd be okay with that. And I'm not being disrespectful in any way, shape, or form, but I'm just being honest. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but if I never saw Hughie Fury box ever again in my life, I think I could come to terms with that pretty fucking quickly.
I think he's got something there. It's just
not there, is it?
Do you know what it is? If you think about it, wait, check something about Hughie Fury, right? Look at the opponents all the opponents Hughie Fury fights. He's never fought an interesting opponent, has he?
Christian Hammer was his opponent.
Boring.
Shocking.
I forget. Parker to one side. Since the Parker fight, who has he fought that has got some sort of personality behind them?
It's a good point.
He's got nobody. So a Chisora fight would have been good for Hughie Fury. A Chisora fight. He needs a fight with a guy with personality. A guy that's going to talk and smack at him.
Yeah.
A guy that's going to rile him up.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And Hughie Fury has not been in any fight like that. He's been no fight. All the fights have been, everyone's quite nice. Yeah, I'm in the best shape of my life. I've been training hard. And I'm ready to do the business. And like, it's the same thing. You could just play one press conference of Hughie Fury, and that could speak to all the press conferences he does. Because he's never had a guy on the other side that's coming to bring it to him. See, I would have a fight like Hughie Fury versus Jarrell Miller. That fight, and I'll take it. I'll have to fight. Maybe I'll have to fight in America. Jarrell Miller is a bit of a a lot of people don't like Jarrell Miller because the whole PED thing. Fury needs to kind of build his profile more. Good fight, cousin of Tyson Fury in America. Why not?
What about Crazy D3 says Hughie's only 28. He's still a baby. His man strength will come soon. Give him time. You know what? I'm not being funny, but we've been talking about fucking Hughie Fury's man strength coming through ever since I was a teenager. Ever since I hit puberty. When I was going through puberty, we were still talking about that.
You can never disrespect Hughie in terms of his resume.
Yeah, he'll fight anyone.
He'll fight anyone. So
he won't beat anyone. That's the problem. That's the problem.
No, I think. Well, wait. If we go by the belief system that heavyweights get better as they get older, so if Hughie Fury is able to stick around a little longer, get a few wins under his belt, or maybe when he gets to about 30, 33, he may be experienced enough mentally and physically to then put it all together, because he's not been completely blasted out of there by the top guys, has he? No one's totally blasted him out of there.
I thought he was better against
Hammer
than Frank Sanchez was by a fucking mile. Speaking of which, Ingram, what about this guy here?
I'll tell you one thing, it must be some size helmet.
This fucking plant pot clown fighting Christian Hammer.
Oh wow.
Let me get the card up. Let me get the card up. Go, carry on. Let me get the card up. Time to go to frankwarren.com.
I heard a story in October that Fury versus Joyce was a done deal.
Oh, really?
Is that true? What do you think?
I honestly, I don't have no idea. I'll tell you something. I've got to be careful. I got let me put it this way. R.E. Joe Joyce, right? So we all know Joe Joyce was due to fight Joseph Parker, right? And then that he obviously fell through, right? And Frank Warren's been fuming at Joseph Parker. Frank Warren should be fuming at anybody. Frank Warren should be fuming at himself for going on pay-per-view and yet again announcing fights, that haven't been signed. This Frank Warren was the same man who called a press conference with Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora with no fucking contract signed. So Uncle Frank still hasn't learned his lesson, from all those fucking years ago. So let me tell you something. Frank Warren only got himself to blame on that. Somebody, let me just say this, Ingram. with the state of British boxing, I don't give a shit about the state of British boxing is so bad these days. I don't care anymore. I do one show a week now, every week. I do one show a week, if that. I just stopped doing shows. I'll stop caring because it's a desert. It's a drought at the minute. It's a drought. There aren't any big fights, and the big fights out there are complete mismatches. But sometimes people do come to me with some information, and somebody came to me out of the blue and told me that Joseph Parker is very, very, very close to signing to fight
Lucas Brown
in September. And somebody told me that. And it's not something that I asked for.
Believe it.
Somebody came to me and said, Ultra, do you know that this fight is a go? I couldn't believe it. And you know what? Do you know what? Yesterday, Ben Shalom made some imaginary offer, didn't he? Ben Shalom made an imaginary offer to Frank Warren of 1.2 million to have Joe Joyce come and fight on Sky Sports pay-per-view versus Joseph Parker, which makes no sense. Frank rejected that in 2 seconds on Twitter, which makes absolutely no sense, right? Joseph Parker's a free agent. He chose not to sign with Queensbury. He chose to sign with a guy. He chose to go to the place where Joe Joyce wasn't, and now all of a sudden, Ben Shalom's now turning around and offering imaginary money for a fight that can't happen. I'll get the tweet up in just a second there. So there's all kinds of stuff going on. But that offer, here we go. As you can see here, Boxers Ben Shalom has stated that they've now approached Frank Warren and offered Joe Joyce 1.2 million to fight Joseph Parker on Sky Sports pay-per-view. That's fucking bizarre, considering Joseph Parker could have just signed with Queensbury and got the fight done and got it done. But I don't know what the financials were. But anyway, that was very, very interesting because Frank came out, and I'll get up in a minute, and said, this is all a smokescreen. They're trying to use Joe Joyce because they've got no intention of fighting him. All I will say is this. I was told by somebody that Lucas Brown and Joe Joyce is like I can't even believe it.
That's a done deal. I believe it's a done deal. So that's what I believe. And I also believe that makes sense commercially. New Zealand versus Australia.
If Joseph Parker fights Lucas Brown, I just don't know how he lives that down. I mean, what do you think about the whole thing with Boxer at the minute? I mean, just the amount of shit that I get. Not a lot, but
you know what?
I hear a lot of funny stories about these guys. I really do. Adam Smith and Ben Shalom, aka Pinky in the Brain. I don't even remember the old cartoon, the Animaniacs.
Yeah.
Pinky in the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. You know what I mean? The amount of fucking shit I get in my inbox about what goes on at Boxer, apparently it really does sound out like they're a total bunch of clowns. I'll get their list of boxers up here in a minute, but it does seem like they're pretty. From what I've heard, the impression I get is that they're pretty amateurish in the way that they go about things. But we'll go through their stable in a minute, and you let me know. I mean, they've got the biggest promotional team in Sky behind them. I will say this, Ingram, I can't blame them for losing Anthony Joshua, because Anthony Joshua has been made. Is effectively going to be a shareholder in the zone, yeah? And so, that's a deal that's going to be very, very hard for anybody really to compete with. Do you know what I mean? The fact that Anthony Joshua is going to end up getting shares and become a quote-unquote special advisor. But yeah, what do you think about that? What do you think about what Boxer and what they're doing in a minute? We'll go through some of these heavyweights in just a minute.
Let me show you something, right? I like Boxer, and I like Ben Shalom. From the outset, I like what he's doing. Now, for me, we've got Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall.
September the 10th, apparently.
Right, fight made. We had Khan versus Brooke. Fight made. So I like Boxer, right? And the thing is,
Sam Eggington for an IBO world title, topping the bill. Fight made.
What?
That's happening this weekend. But carry on, Ingram. Carry on. They're saying it's a world title as well. They're saying I love Sam Eggington, but they're saying it's a world title. Sam Eggington's going for the world title. Anyway, carry on.
Well. You know what? I like Boxer, and the thing is, there's always going to be negative press because Eddie's not doing very well at the moment. As far as I'm concerned, he's not doing very well. He lost, I think, he's not with Sky no more. He's with Dead Zone. And, the shine's not on him. There's another guy, and it's Ben Shalom. I like Ben Shalom. I like the way Ben Shalom comes across. But people are always going to try and talk shit, and you don't know if it's coming from the other side. You don't know if it's coming from the other side of the road, just trying to put shit on Ben Shalom and what they're doing with Adam Smith. But as far as I'm concerned, we know what it is with Adam Smith, Johnny Nelson. You know what it is. But I like the fact we complain about fights not being made. They're getting fights made. We complain We waited for Eddie for years to get Khan versus Brook. It never happened. We now got Khan versus Brook. We're now getting Savannah Marshall versus Clarissa Shields. We're getting fights. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not. And they've got some good fighters there. I think Richard God.
We'll go through that in this. Yeah, it's funny. I was going to bring up Richard Rappaport because I'm trying to find it. Because somebody sent me the link to Johnny Nelson's recent article in Sky, where Johnny Nelson is saying that Richard Rappaport is more dangerous than Deontay Wilder. We can show that in a minute, but that's.
Lord.
I'm not even joking.
Wait. Did Johnny Nelson say that? I think Johnny Nelson said that Anthony Joshua was the second coming of George Foreman. Didn't he say that?
Oh, Jesus Christ. The stuff that we've heard, he said all sorts. Obviously, he's the one who said James Tennyson, who's now retired from boxing, would have beaten Gervonta Davis. Anyway, let's go through Boxer Stable then. Chris Eubank Jr., next gen. He's got a next gen beard there, as you can see, Ingram. He's like Conor Ben. These man them couldn't grow a beard for 25 years, innit? These men couldn't grow a beard for 25 years. All of a sudden, they make a bit of money from boxing, and then they go in a full beard. Where's that coming from? I hear these beard transplants in Turkey are really. That's what's next gen about Chris Eubank, isn't it? He had a next gen beard transplant out in Turkey. He cut cost. Anyway,
I love Chris. I love Chris.
All right. What we give him in this stable? What would you give Chris? Let's get the report card out. A, B, C, D. Chris Eubank Jr. Right, 32 wins, 2 losses, 0 draws, 23 KOs. Next gen. What are we giving Chris Eubank on the report card? On the boxer report card?
I will give him A just because he'll fight anybody. Did he fight
Golovkin? He fucking had Eddie Hearn. Him and his dad had Eddie Hearn down the Golden Path for 6 weeks on that.
Hold on, Eddie Hearn. Any negotiation that involve Eddie Hearn, there's a problem there from the start for me because, as you've seen, Kell Brook versus Amir Khan got done. It got done. It got made, but it didn't get made with Eddie.
True.
What's this fight? It took a YouTuber to get flipping Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano to fight.
Yeah, Logan Paul.
So come on.
You giving Chris Eubank an A.
An A based on he'll fight anybody, and I don't. The whole thing, Eddie and Golovkin, I don't listen to too much of that. But I like Eddie in terms of A, he'll fight anybody. Whether he'll beat anybody is another matter altogether. But he's a guy who'll fight. He'll talk well in a press conference. He'll fight well. He'll come hard and fight. He'll give his all. His all.
Just to say, we've got 117 in the chat still, and only 40 likes. That's a disgrace. Please hit the like button.
And then the guys who he's been beat by. He got beat by George Groves. Okay, fine. Groves wasn't a bad fighter, and he got beat by Billy Joe Saunders, who wasn't a bad fighter either. So I mean, he didn't get beat. He hasn't been beaten by bums, and he has beaten some decent fighters as well. So,
but there is a kind of thing with him that every time he steps up. Like, he would have got beaten by Korobov. If Korobov's shoulder stayed in its socket, I think he would have lost that fight as well. There's a thing that every time he steps up, he looks like he's going to get beat. Like, even in the Liam Williams fight, somehow Liam Williams made that fight look a little bit closer than it should have been. But I don't know. You're giving them an A, that's fine, we'll move on. I'm going to give him an S for shit, but that's okay. You're going to give him an A.
My God, no, I wouldn't do it. No, come on. That's harsh.
All right. That's he's not an S. Look, in this stable, compared to things that we'll be going through.
It was a middleweight that fought a super middleweight and went and took George Groves' biggest punches. I mean, I think you've got to give the guy credit for that, going in the Super 6 or whatever that tournament was. So I'll give him credit for that as well.
Oh, I think that's a fair comment. All right, what are we giving Fraser Clarke based on his... Remember the Fraser Clarke's debut fight? Boxer, Ben Shalom, dragged somebody out of the crowd. Do you know this about for Fraser Clarke's fight? They got that...
I saw the first fight. I reserve judgment. I think you've just got to put an
A on Fraser Clarke.
No, not an A. No, I didn't say A. You got to put what they call the things a dash because that's one fight.
A dash. All right, let's go.
Yeah, a dash.
All right. Some of these names I didn't even know. What do you got Rappaport? I didn't watch Rappaport fights.
I think he goes on to win a world title. In fact, I'd love to see him fight Okoli. That's the fight.
Yeah, but
I remember
cruiserweight's crap though. Let's be honest. Cruiserweight ain't got the best fighters in it. Cruiserweight's like one of the easiest divisions. Isn't that? Would you say I'm right about that? Cruiserweight's probably one of the easier divisions in boxing to become a champion.
I would totally disagree with you. This cruiserweight division's got all the killer punches in it.
Okay.
Look at the killer punches. What's his name? Who was in the cruiserweight division? You had Garcia was a brutal puncher. Oh, yeah, I'm talking about the cruiserweights. Yeah, all
I don't think
punches,
he's still around.
bro. There were big punches in the cruiserweight division. Big punches.
No,
Cole's not a big puncher. Cole's a big puncher.
Cole's a big puncher.
Yeah, it's that the cruiserweight division is the division of big punching killers. After the heavyweights, you got the cruiserweights. So Dan Aziz, my man Dan Aziz.
He gets rated. So hold on. What we give him record for as a great then?
I think he goes on to become a world champion. So I think he's a world champion in waiting.
So you're going to say he's A or B or what?
B minus.
Dan Aziz?
British champion. So at least he's British champion. He got a lot of heart, a lot of guts. B.
Close Shields. Who do you think wins that fight between Marshall and
I don't know, you know. It depends on whether Shields could disrupt Marshall. Because if Marshall's got enough punching power to stop Shields doing what she's doing, then you can do all the great boxing and have all the technical stuff in the world. But once you meet a real massive puncher, that could put your lights at one shot. You know, I don't know how big a puncher Marshall really is because she's now fighting an A-class fighter, so we'll see. But I think it's a great fight, though.
Florian Marku.
Let's just get the Conor Ben fight on. That's what I say about that.
That's I don't think you'll ever see that fight happen. And I just don't forget. I think Caroline Dubois is better than Daniel, and I've said that from time and time again. She's better than Daniel.
Quite possibly.
She's got. If you look at her, she's actually got angles. She knows how to set up punches, different kinds of punches. She doesn't just rely on the 1-2. For me, she's actually a better fighter than women's boxing compared to men's boxing. Is what it is. Karis Arting's still a Lauren Price. I think Karis Arting's still. We'll talk about that another time. Right, Ben Whittaker. I haven't seen much of Ben Whittaker, but obviously he's the most highly rated of the bunch. Obviously.
Dylan Cheatham. I thought he did well in that boxer tournament. Did well, very well.
The Boxer Series lightweight champion. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, just in closing, you look at this stable going forward. I mean, there are rumors that Okole is going to be joining this stable soon because it looks like Okole is going to be the next one to jump ship and get away from the zone and leave Eddie Hearn.
A lot of them are going to jump. I've said it before. I've said it that this would happen. It will happen because before when everyone was jumping to Eddie's because they wanted to be on the Sky platform.
Exactly.
Now again, people are going to want to be on the Sky platform.
It's just Box Nation with money at the minute. It's Box Nation with a budget. It's Box Nation with a bigger budget, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but people won't say that because they won't want you to say that because it's they people will always be biased. When Frank was doing it, everyone laughed at Frank. Now Eddie's doing it to DAZN, they won't laugh at DAZN because Eddie doing it. It's just the biases that's there, but it is what it is though.
All right, Ingram. Right, I will get your channel apology. Thanks very much for coming on today, Ingram. In closing, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about? Anything like you'd like to get off your chest? Anything that I missed out?
Yeah, I do. I want to ask boxing fans this question. The question is this: if you love boxing so much and you are so passionate about your boxers, why do you accept and allow promoters to constantly ruin your fighters' careers? Why do you allow it? Why do you celebrate these promoters or these promoters that are only about the money? They don't care about the fighters. Like, you know that I said that what's this boy's name? Buatsi was going to get thrown into the deep end sooner or later. He's thrown so many fighters under the bus. It's unbelievable. It's only a matter of time before they throw Conor Ben under the bus as well.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. You know, they seem to be wrapping Conor Ben up in cotton wool, man. They're wrapping Conor Ben up in cotton wool.
They talk about a big fight for him. He's talking about wanting to fight Thurman, but
it's never
PBC
will not do business with Eddie Hearn. They won't do business with him.
Wait, they did do business with him. They did business with Eddie Hearn with Joshua versus Ruiz.
They'll send bogeymen over there. They'll send bogeymen over there.
Yeah. Just remember one thing. It was Eddie's bright spark idea not to do business with Don King. And if you'd done business with Don King, Anthony Joshua will be fighting Trevor Bryan in America and not Andrew Rees. Just let that sink in.
When you talk about promoters and things like that, I mean, what do you think the state of boxing is with the? I'm sick and tired of focusing on these promoters and stuff, but I don't know what to say at the minute. Let me ask you another question. Here's another way I'll ask it. So, in thing, we've got the state of British boxing at the minute. To me, British boxing is on a clear decline right now. That's just my opinion. It's on a clear decline. You look at the fighters, you look at the fights. I think Anthony Joshua is coming to the end of his career, right? In my opinion. Like, I'm not saying he's going to get beaten by Usyk or anything like that, but I just think in general, there's talks about the DAZN deal being 5 or 6 fight deal. I don't see Anthony Joshua having 5 or 6 fights. I think Anthony Joshua, if he beats Usyk, he gets in with Fury. And if he beats Fury, there's no reason for him to continue fighting. I think if he loses a close one to Fury, they do it again and make another 200 million. But to me,
Wilder
Joshua doesn't have 5 or 6 fights. He ain't fighting Wilder. They ain't going to fight Wilder. Why would that happen?
money.
For what?
Why would Yarde fight Beterbiev?
Yarde fight Beterbiev because Yarde's got nut cases in his corner. Yarde's got nut jobs around him. He won't tell him he's going to get flattened. That's what it is. Yarde's the blue do-rag man. He thinks he can be... Listen, Yarde will fight anyone, but sometimes you need somebody around you to say, look, you know what I mean? Sometimes you need to come back and leave it for another day. But I just feel like that Wilder fight's never going to happen. If it didn't happen all them years ago, it ain't going to happen now. I can't see that fight. I think Anthony Joshua's got 2 fights left in him. The Usyk fight, and I think he fights Fury. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think Anthony Joshua will fight Tyson Fury regardless of what happens between him and Usyk. I think that fight will happen. There's just too much money in that fight not to happen. Even if Alexander Usyk cleans out, Anthony Joshua, in a round, right? It might not be the next fight. Maybe we'll get an undisputed fight. But I am convinced that you will see Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury in a ring, regardless of whether they lose, whether they don't lose or whatnot. I just think that fight is going to... It might not be worth as much money as it was. It might be a Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, where it's a massive fight, but obviously it wasn't the fight that it could have been. Do you know what I mean? Or Pacquiao Mayweather. I think that's what will happen with it. But I think that fight will happen. But I don't think he's got 5. So I think Anthony Joshua's on borrowed time. He's achieved a lot in the sport. He's done what he's had to do. He's a multiple-time world champion. It is what it is, right? So you take him out of the sport, right, in a couple of years. That's probably Britain's biggest ticket seller. You've got Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury's only interested in 2 fights. Usyk and Anthony Joshua. I think if it isn't those 2 fights, I don't think we see Tyson Fury coming back unless, or he'll fight again. Of course, he'll come back. The retirement's bullshit, But we all know, really, what are the 2 fights that Fury's going to get up for? 2 fights he's going to get up for is Usyk, or maybe they'll shoehorn this Joyce fight in, but that's about it. 3 fights max.
All those exhibition bouts he's been talking about. Which
Exactly. With an Ngannou fight, I can see that. But in terms of like official pay-per-view boxing, I think Fury's got 1 or 2 fights left in him, so you can take him out of the equation. And I'm just looking through again, and we had this conversation before. I mean, Anthony Yarde, I agree with you. I think Anthony Yarde, actually, I don't think he's going to be a pay-per-view star, but I think he has the physique and the look to actually, under the right circumstances, if he beats Beterbiev, which isn't going to happen, but if he does beat Beterbiev, Anthony Yarde would actually have to go down. He'd have to go down in the pound-for-pound list. People don't understand. Beterbiev is rated by many as like a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
One of the greatest light heavyweights of all time. You'll have to start cutting with that. With that one.
Yarde. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? But I don't see it the minute. Ingram,
you know where that would be in terms of upsets. That would be like Donald Curry and Lloyd Hannigan. It'd be that sort of level, epic.
It would be huge. I'm not sure if I ever would have actually seen a bigger one in my lifetime, like live, seen a bigger. I mean, it's just huge. But anyway, I mean, so looking forward, Ingram,
You know what happened just then? When we said the word epic and we saw Lloyd Hannigan, I just saw David Hayes' face. He says he's getting a boner. I just hear David Hayes' voice when he saying to Klitschko, I'm getting a boner. Yeah. Do you remember when he said that? When Hayes said that? He said, you don't remember when he said to Klitschko, he's getting a boner. Thinking about the fight.
He got boned in the fucking ring, but it was what it was, wasn't it? I mean, I don't know, man. Ingram, I'm at the point here where British boxing's on a clear decline. The fights are going down. We've got no stars. And what most important, Ingram, we've got all this fucking TV channels, all these promoters. None of these guys can fight each other. They're all on different shows. They're all on different promoters. None of them really can fight each other. It's a disaster.
Let's take this back. Right? The problem started when Eddie decided to, instead of look after fighters, because you'd have 4 or 5 fighters that would have been genuine pay-per-view fighters. Instead, what Eddie did was crash bang wallop and just threw guys out and threw them under the bus. A whole bunch of fighters were thrown under the bus. So instead at this point now where they should have been pay-per-view fighters, their careers have all been destroyed. All been destroyed. Instead of them being managed properly and correctly and taking the right fights at the right time, they've all been steamrolled and chinned and knocked out and destroyed and rebuilding their careers at the wrong time. Do you remember when people talk about Josh Kelly?
I think he's been handled terribly. Terribly.
Do you remember how people talk about Josh Kelly when he threw those like 10 left hooks? And they were saying like he was the next whatever they were saying about him. Adam Booth said he was the best fighter he'd ever worked with. Look, that's one example right there.
They ruined him though, mate.
Yeah.
Josh Kelly, he was exciting to watch to a degree. Okay, against journeyman.
Yeah.
But even the Avanesian fight, he gave it his all. He came up short against somebody.
He should never have fought Avanesian. I
Never.
told people he should never have fought him.
But he's a very good-looking guy, and he's got a good style. A good style. I'm not saying he's going to be a star, but he could have been more than what he was.
He could have been a pay-per-view star. I see why he could have been a pay-per-view star, because you match him against the right guys. That's what it's all about, matchmaking against the right guys, and then says, right, build him up to becoming that I don't know, fighting for a world title. That could have been a pay-per-view. Kelly versus whatever for a world title fight. But at least you would have built the guy up. You would have got the guy, several good fights, and then the world title fight, pay-per-view. But Josh Kelly, that's one of them. There's quite a few of them.
I don't think we have any. Can you think of anybody like Ryakapor? To me, I don't see star quality in Ryakapor.
I do.
Star quality, like this guy. People are going to go out and say, "I'm buying pay-per-view because Richard Ryakapor's on."
Listen, what Ryakapor lacks at the moment is that big, high-profile fight for me. He lacks that big, high-profile fight. One that people. I tell you, if he goes to fight a Coley, that's a big fight there. Because that'll be some serious beef between the two of them.
Yeah, but we already had British beef between Isaac Chamberlain and Coley. Then it went from British beef to corn beef. Remember that?
But
British beef. Promised British beef and delivered corn beef.
Those two guys were pretty inexperienced at the time. You've got Ryakapor there, and you've got a Coley world champion. Ryakpor's punching and knocking guys out. I think that's a great fight, personally.
Guys, in the chat, does anybody in the chat think that we have any stars or anybody after Fury and Wilder who's capable of Fury and Wilder, Fury and AJ, who's actually capable of being a pay-per-view star? Where are the next pay-per-view stars coming from? And do you agree with me that British boxing's on decline? Let me know, let you not.
Well done.
Crazy. Go.
When you say British boxing is in decline, was it British boxing being in decline, or were we deluded about how good our fighters were in the first place?
Probably a bit of both, to be honest. Probably a bit of both. I mean, listen, back in fucking what was it? 2010 or whatever. We were talking about like, Groves and Froch. We were talking about Groves and Froch like it was Hearns and Hagler and shit. I mean, we were gassed, weren't we? We were all gassed up, weren't we? 80,000, yeah. 80,000 paying fucking 80,000 in the nosebleed seats, paying fucking £4.50 for a ticket.
But at least we knew Froch was the second best super middleweight in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he smashed up Butte as well. I mean, Froch was good. Froch was a damn good fighter when you think about it now. The guy he fought.
But I'm
when
just
you
thinking
think about it.
But you asked the question. I'll be honest with you. I think we were, as Biguado is saying, we were gassed off our fucking peanuts. I mean, it's a good point, It's a good point, but maybe AJ and Fury having those two top heavyweights at the time just inflated us. But I don't see it, Ingram. Going forward in the future, I don't see it. I think we're going to go back here to the old days. Honestly, I think we're going to go back in a couple of years. British boxing's going to go full circle. I know you're a big fan of Elton John and The Lion King, so I'm going to sing you the circle of life. That's where British boxing's going. It's the circle. It's that circle of life. You know what it's going to be in a couple of years' time? Going to go back to Francis and Pofo, headlining Sky Sports Cards, and sending Lee Purdy out, to go and fight Devon Alexander. That's what we're going to go back to. We're going to go back to those days, Herbie Hyde versus Vitaly Klitschko. Those are the days we're going back to.
I have hopes that Boxer is going to bring us through some good fighters. I have hopes on that. I really do.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. In closing, I will do this before we go. Only because Sherman's here.
That
Oh
song.
gosh, I haven't heard it properly yet, but let's just.
I haven't heard it yet at all.
You haven't heard it at all? I think
No,
the
I
man's-
haven't heard it.
I think the man's auto-tuner. I don't want to get done for this, but we'll just give it a go. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. StreamYard plays some very, very, very dodgy games.
Dodgy music.
It does. Hold on, and I cannot. Here we go. Oh no, and no. For some reason, it just stopped showing certain tabs. So I'll sort it out in just a minute. Yeah, hold on a minute. And I do think Tony Bellew will return, by the way. Someone's mentioned Tony Bellew in the chat. I'll tell you right now, I think Tony Bellew will come back. And I think the reason Tony Bellew will come back is because British boxing is absolutely screwed. It's screwed, isn't it? And that's why we're relying on people like that. Here we go. Right. Let's have a listen to this. I had to do it. Let's see. I've never heard this. Let's see.
Really in the mood, babe. Let's get in the groove, babe. So what you got to lose, babe? It's to me and you, baby. Really in the mood, babe. Let's get in the groove, babe. So what you got to lose, babe? It's to me and you, baby.
And, hey, it doesn't even sound that bad, you know. They auto-tune the fuck out of him, though.
I'm going to say something. It might be, people might think I'm a bit out of order in saying this, but, you know, I want to know when Deontay Wilder actually retires from boxing, whether it's still going to all look the same.
What do you mean?
Whether it's all going to look the same. It looks good at the moment, like with many guys, many boxers, when they are boxing and they've got the TV on them and they're getting all the adoration and stuff. But when they retire, you know, in terms of their spouses, you know,
it's a disaster.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it's a disaster. He's got all the wrong people around him, Wilder. That's my opinion. I think he's got the wrong people around him. You know, listen. In my opinion, like I said before, his missus needs to keep her clothes on. No disrespect, but I've never ever seen this woman with her clothes. Every time I see her with Deontay Wilder, she's never got any clothes on. She's always, even when a man turned up, to go and get his statue done. This is how the woman turns up. Like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. That's just me. I do think I agree with you. I think when he does retire, I do think you're going to hear some stories about him. But look, it seems like he's made some smart investments and he makes a lot of money. And that's the one thing about Al Heyman. Al Heyman encourages his fighters to make smart investments and smart money. All right, Ingram, take us out. Listen, Ingram, British boxing. I've told you. Listen, Coach of the Year is going to be between Martin Bakole. Going to be between Billy Nelson and Tunde Ajayi. If Tunde Ajayi and Anthony get the job done over.
Well, hold on. You've got to add James Cook into that mix as well.
James Cook. Oh yeah. He don't say nothing. He don't really say much. So I'll just sweep him off into the corner. You know what goes on with that. They'll make it all about Tunde. Forget about James Cook. He'll come on the mic afterwards on BT Sport and he'll say 5 words and they just nudge him out. They nudge him out of the shot. He did last time. James Cook last time had about 3 words after the Lyndon Arthur fight. He came on, introduced himself. He got shoulder punched. He got shoulder punched. We've never seen him since. We've never seen him since. Have you seen James Cook? No, I haven't. I've never seen him again, man.
It's not right, bro.
Yeah, he's fine. James Cook had them 5 minutes, man. Nah, forget about that. He had his 5 minutes. Get him out of here, man.
You wrong, bro. You wrong.
Go on, finish up. Go on.
Yeah, James Cook. Yeah. No, I don't know. You were talking about James Cook. You made me laugh. But yeah.
No, we're just saying. Look, I just think that's what it is. I think we're in a decline, and it is what it is. And the fight's coming up. The fights that I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Yarde versus Beterbiev, but it's a fight that should never get made. I think McKinson versus Berger Ortiz could be a disaster. We talked about AJ versus Usyk. We've got a long way to go with that. No Fury, no Wilder.
Ruiz versus Ortiz.
Somebody said that. Somebody called that diabetes versus diabetes. That's what that's been. I'm not joking. Somebody labeled that diabetes versus diabetes.
Wow.
We'll have to wait and see. They said diabetes caused by excessive food intake versus diabetes caused by old age. What's it going to be? I don't know what's going on with that fight. All I know is that Luis Ortiz. I hope Luis Ortiz is all right on that blood pressure medication. We'll have to wait and see what's gonna happen in that fight. Listen, if Luis Ortiz, people go on about resume, if he beats Andy Ruiz, that again looks interesting for Anthony Joshua because it means that Luis Ortiz has actually beaten 2 of his best opponents.
Yeah.
At the age of 40 plus. But we'll have to wait and see what that is. Ben Davison, the coach of the year. I don't know about that. Oh my gosh! Do you know what? I'll show you another time. I'm gonna show you Johnny Fisher another time. We'll do that.
Johnny Fisher. Isn't he pound for pound number 1 in your list?
Do you know what? I do have my pound for pound list. He's actually number 9 on my pound for pound list.
Wasn't he
Johnny
number
Fisher.
1 at one point? Johnny Fisher was number 1 at one point.
You're never number 1. At the minute, number 1 for the last 2 months is Brian Rose. So Brian Rose is number 1 on my pound for pound list for the last 2 months. Andrew Kane, the prospect from Queensbury, who's a serious individual. Andrew Kane, he's number 2. I'm trying to get the list up, but yeah, Johnny Fisher. Yeah, I've got a video about Johnny. I can't put the video up because Johnny Fisher put Meek Mill in it, so I don't want to get done for copyright. But Johnny Fisher, I mean, Jesus Christ, the boss soldier. I mean, like Ingram, like I keep saying, when we're talking about Johnny Fisher as a future sort of hope of British boxing, I'm sure Johnny's a lovely guy, but like I said before, that tells you all you need to know, doesn't it, about where we're going? Let's be honest. We went from David Haye. David Haye and Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua to Johnny Fisher. That's where we've gone in the last 5 or 6 years. No, but that's where we've gone. Joe Joyce is a 35-year-old man who wears a plant pot on his head when he comes out. He ain't got that much longer in the sport of boxing.
Nathan Gorman.
Nathan Gorman. Please.
Did you see that compilation? Nathan Gorman.
All right, it is what it is. All right, Ingram, if you would like to subscribe, which I'm sure you already have, to BWTN Gaming Sports.
Nathan Gorman, yes.
Nathan Gorman, yeah. I think that's definitely the cue to end the show. Yeah, that's definitely our cue to go. When we start bringing up Nathan Gorman, that's our cue to call it a day. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, or I'll be sending over the heavies.
What's going to happen now? It's dead. You're dead.
What it is. Please follow Ingram.
Wait, where's that Dillian White clip you like to play?
No one's ever seen that man since. Captain for Dillian. Where's the arbitration case? I said it today on Twitter. Where is that arbitration, that imaginary arbitration case? The one that was supposed to... Where is it? Anybody in the chat? If anybody in the chat can find out what's going on with Dillian's arbitration case, the arbitration case that was supposed to be that's supposed to be finished in March, that nobody has any record of.
Hold on, how can we not be talking about fight of the year? Tommy Fury and Jake Paul.
Oh my God! God, let's quickly, go on. Tommy Fury and Jake Paul.
Yeah, but if Jake Paul beats Tommy Fury, what does that say about British boxing?
Do you know what? Honestly, I really think that Tommy Fury's a better boxer than Jake Paul, and I've said that from day one. I think that if Tommy Fury gets beat, he's going to get beat on the cards because I think the cards are atrocious. I saw Jake Paul and Tyrone Woodley, and I thought Tyrone Woodley was taking rounds of Jake Paul. I think those cards, I think Tyrone Woodley was taking rounds of Jake Paul. I don't think that fight, the cards in that fight added up at all. I do think Tommy Fury's going to have to win by knockout to win. And I don't think he's going to win by knockout, but he has to win by knockout. I think if it goes to points, there's no way he's going to come out of there with a decision. But I don't know what people are... I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Jake Paul's never been in the ring with a boxer. I've been in the ring, with people who have crossed over from Muay Thai to boxing. It's very, very different. Some guys, exactly. Some guys are just really good at it. Some guys, some Muay Thai guys started boxing, then went to Muay Thai, so they can box. Or I've met guys who do both. I've met guys who actually train both, and they're very competent at both. So it can be done. But people don't understand. Jake Paul's never, ever been in the ring with a boxer. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, it's going to be a hard sell because John Fury, who threatened to do Jake Paul's girlfriend, he can't turn up. Because John Fury is obviously banned from the States anyway. He was banned from the States long before any of this Daniel Kinahan shit. So we're not going to be seeing, scenes like this, Ingram. We're not going to be seeing John Fury screaming at LCD TVs and threatening to assault people's girlfriends. We're not going to be seeing that, from John anytime, anywhere / I'm a fighting man Fury. So that's one detriment. Tyson Fury can't travel anywhere because of the Daniel Kinahan thing. So this is going to be, I think this is actually going to be it could be a hard sell, actually. It could be a hard sell because they're trying to use Fury in the Fury name, but none of the Furies that we actually give a shit about can actually turn up to this fight. Makes sense? None of the Furies that we care about can actually be there.
And he didn't look great in that fight in America against the guy, I can't remember his name again,
Well, there you
that
go.
guy.
Yeah, that guy, exactly. Well, who do you think? Who have you got?
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
I mean, it is what it is.
You think Tommy Fury being the boxer should win?
I don't think he's going to get a decision over there. That's my opinion. I see them Tyrone Woodley cards. I don't think Jake Paul's good. I don't think he's going to get a decision. But I just think, look, Tommy, in a weird way, I've got a lot of respect for him because, to me, we hear a lot about fighters pulling out of fights, and they never provide any proof. Like we see Dillian Whyte pull out of the Otto Warden fight with a suspected shoulder injury. We never got any sort of proof that Dillian Whyte had a shoulder injury that would actually stop him from fighting, right? Mm-hmm. Tommy Fury actually went and provided his his scans. I mean, he provided scans that had his doctor's GMC number and fucking email address on them. Word to Tommy Fury. So I don't think Tommy Fury knows about GDPR, data protection, but Tommy, it might be a good idea if It might be a good idea, Tommy, if you remove your doctor's GMC number and emails, from your scans next time you post them up, But I think fair play to Tommy Fury. He's one of the few boxers I've seen that has gone out of his way to prove. And I don't believe he's ever been scared of Jake Paul. I think what happened with Tommy Fury is he's a guy who's an Instagram model / Instagram model shagger, isn't he? He's not a true fighter. He would have got in that camp with Tyson Fury for the first time, and that would have been the first proper training camp he's ever been through. Do you know what I mean? That would have been the first hard-ass training camp he's ever... You see Tyson Fury smashing his ribs to pieces with that medicine ball. That would have been the first time he's ever been in a hard training camp. And the body just can't... The body sometimes can't take it. Can't go, you've been training for, Eastern European plumbers on Frank Warren undercards, somewhere in the middle of Telford or somewhere in the middle of the copper box, right? For X amount of weeks. All of a sudden now you're fucking Showtime pay-per-view and you've got Tyson Fury smashing your ribs with a bloody medicine ball. Body can't take it. And I think that's the reason why his body just went out. So I don't think he's scared. I think he deserves a lot of credit, Ingram, in my opinion, because he's going out there without his dad. He's going out there without his brother. He's going to earn $2 million and whatnot. But listen, I think he's got a lot of credit.
I think it's absolutely suicidal. Personally, I'd say to Tommy Fury,
he's got a lot of pressure. He's got a lot of pressure.
Suicidal.
I mean, his father is an absolute moron who does nothing but put pressure on him. I mean, I personally, what I'd be saying to Tommy Fury right now, if I was in Tommy Fury's camp, I'd be telling Tommy Fury, look, go out there, give it your best shot, control the controllables, and no matter what happens to you, if you lose, people are going to forget, because people forget about it. If he gets beat, people forget about it in a week's time. Most people on this planet have very, very short attention spans. They can't even got attention spans like goldfish. When these boxers lose, they think it's the end of the world. Dillian Whyte, when he lost to Tyson Fury, it was the end of the world. It was the end of the world for 4 days, and then nobody gave a shit after. Nobody cares anymore. So I'll say to Tommy Fury, look, it doesn't matter. If you lose, you lose. It is. But, him, and then you've got Tyson and the father. Oh, if he loses, he's not a Fury. If he loses, his boxing career's over. If he loses, you know what I mean? He's not a fighting man. If he loses, he's not the guy that I thought he was. If he loses, he's this. I just think that is dreadful, what they're doing. Sticking all the pressure on and putting all the pressure on a young guy like that. I know they're trying to do it to egg him on, because that's what they thrive off. They thrive off that pressure. But not everybody's Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's a one-off. Not everybody thrives on that pressure, right? Like he does. Not everybody does. Anthony Joshua though. We know what Anthony Joshua does anytime there's a bit of pressure. We know what happens when he gets hit with a shot. He starts smiling through the gum shield. You know what I mean? And then smiling through the gum shield. Hey, AJ, great job, AJ. And then
brilliant, AJ, brilliant.
That's it. And then the white towel comes in. So you know, certain fighters, not every fighter's like that. I just think, really, honestly, I do feel for him because he's only 20. Was he 20, 22, 23 or something? Being thrust out there in a foreign country, going to have no family around him. It's going to be tough.
He takes Dean White out there with him.
Who takes Dean White out there with him? Dean White?
Yeah.
AKA Wesley Snipes, Passenger 57.
Yeah, he takes him out there with him.
Oh Jesus! Well, if there's any ISIS bombers on the plane, the big team will
You
be there
know
to sort them
who
out.
I think they might use is what's his name? The guy from Derby.
Sam Jones.
No, definitely not Sam Jones. Guy from Derby used to Clifton Mitchell. They'll probably go to Clifton because he's close to the family. Maybe get Clifton Mitchell. Might get Clifton Mitchell.
That's not a bad guy to go with you, is it?
Yeah, cool.
Clifton Mitchell.
Clifton Mitchell. Remember, Clifton Mitchell was the same guy. They went out there with Clifton Mitchell when Fury fought Cunningham.
Yeah. Listen, bring McHennessy back and get the gang back together. All right then, Ingram. Anything else or?
One other thing, Tyson Fury's legal issues. Anybody know what those legal issues are? Stop him coming into America.
I assume, I have no idea what they are. I'm assuming that he has links to Daniel Kinahan, who is on the list, and so he can't come into the country. Anybody with links to Daniel Kinahan can't step into the country at the minute.
Does that include media?
It does include media, I believe.
Okay. So I guess
certain
media won't be allowed into America.
Certain media won't be going. So I think that's why we've seen certain individuals from IFL TV haven't been at the big fights recently. IFL TV been sending over. I stopped watching it 10 years ago, but IFL TV apparently, I'm informed, have been sending over their B team. But who cares? As long as Michelle Joy Phelps can go over there. I mean, that's all we care about, really. Send over Michelle Joy Phelps, Journalist of the Year. She can go in there. Send her in there. She can ask Usyk why the fight can't happen in Ukraine. But yeah, Richard's dropping names. Richard's saying, yeah, it includes Macklin, Coogan, etc. I mean, look, Ingram, let's be honest. I mean, Coogan Cassius can't go to America to interview a couple of fighters. I mean, I don't think anybody would really notice a difference there, would they? It's not like Coogan's a fucking, Coogan isn't exactly Martin Bashir, is he? Do you know what I mean? It's not like when Martin Bashir interviewed Princess Diana of Wales. It's not like we're not talking about,
Wasn't Martin Bashir the same guy that did the Michael Jackson interview?
Well, there you go. He did, yes. You did. This isn't prime time, interrogation here. This is Coogan going out with his softball questions. So I don't really think anybody. But yeah, there are a lot of links. Mark Stanton saying there are 600 linked names banned from the USA. Frank Warren can't go to Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. Nobody can go. That's what I'm saying about Tommy Fury. Literally, Tommy Fury's going to be on a plane. You ever seen the film Home Alone with Macaulay Culkin? Tommy Fury's going to be like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. He's going to be over there, yeah? In a big house all by himself. With a burglar trying to get in.
They can't pull Jake Paul over to the UK.
Well, I don't know. Why would they do that for? Who's gonna put on the show? I mean, I don't know. I can't see that. I don't think Tommy Fury's a big draw. I don't think he's ever proven himself to be a big draw, ever. I think Jake Paul is.
But Jake Paul would be the big draw. He'd be the A side, Jake Paul.
Well, he's more well known, isn't he? And I assume that he's more well known in America. So I assume that's why they're doing it.
But he can grow his brand in the UK, right?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, listen, it's a very good point. You would think that if Jake Paul was interested, and actually, I mean, the problem with doing it in the UK is obviously the pay-per-view times in the US and the time differences. But it is an interesting point. If you did have to fight in the UK, promotionally, it'd be far better. You could have Frank there. You could have John Fury there. You could have Tyson Fury there. You'd have far better promotion for the fight. Now, I'm not sure how it would translate, in terms of views and stuff over there. And that's the problem. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, the time differences and things like that is a big problem. But listen, maybe Jake Paul will come over to the country and do some promotion. Sure. That's what has to happen. Yeah, the promotion for the fight, a lot of the promotion for the fight, in my opinion, has to take place in the UK. In the UK, because these guys can't travel, and nobody really cares about Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. What they care about is Tyson Fury's undefeated. We've never seen Tyson Fury lose, but we want to see his brother lose. Because that's the next best thing. That's what this fight's all about, isn't it? That's what this fight's all about. We haven't seen Tyson Fury lose yet. Because, we went and put all the mortgage money on the Can Man, Dillian White, and that one didn't fucking work out. So now we want to see the next best thing, his brother get beat. Because they all want to see him and his father get taken down the notch. So you need them as part of the promotion.
Hey, somebody asked a really interesting. You laugh at it, but think this out: Tommy Fury versus Anthony Yarde.
Why? Yarde will get him out of there. That's just a silly fight. Wait. Tommy Fury versus Joshua Buatsi. For what? Joshua Buatsi is a dog. He's a dog eaten alive.
Light heavyweights. Tommy Fury versus Callum Johnson.
No, absolutely not.
Tommy Fury versus Craig Richards.
No, I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even do it. I wouldn't even do Tommy Fury. I wouldn't even trust Tommy Fury in the room with Frank Buglioni out of retirement. I wouldn't even trust him with a I wouldn't even trust Tommy Fury with a fresh out of retirement Frank Buglioni.
Tommy Fury versus Jose Burton.
Nah, I don't trust Tommy Fury. I don't trust him.
I don't trust Tommy Fury.
I don't trust him. I'm sorry. I only trust him against
Wait,
YouTubers.
wait. Let me ask you.
Only YouTubers.
Let me
Only
ask you a
YouTubers.
question. Does he look like a guy that can take a punch?
Do you know what? He hasn't been in the ring with anybody who can give him a punch. I've seen a couple of his fights. I don't know. I honestly don't know. What do you think? You don't think he can? I don't think. Listen. I'll say this in closing.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be a boxer, Ingram. This is the thing. Like, Tommy Fury shouldn't be boxing. This is what people need to understand. Tommy Fury should not be boxing. He doesn't need to box.
He needs Adam Booth. That's what he needs. He needs
to call it. He doesn't need to box. He hasn't come from. Look, I'm sure he's tough. He's in tremendous shape. He's an extremely good-looking guy. Great stuff, yeah. But at the end of the day, he lives a life of relative luxury. I know he doesn't live off his brother, but his brother is worth 30, 40 million. So let's be honest, he's never going to starve, is he? His girlfriend is worth millions. I mean, he's just surrounded by millions. Tommy Fury is surrounded by millions. He doesn't need to fight. There's no need to fight. He doesn't have that working class hunger of I need to fight to feed the kids, as Tony Bellew would put it, or I need to fight. Yeah, he doesn't have. He hasn't come from that struggle. He doesn't have it. Tommy Fury does not need to fight. The only reason why he's been shoved into a fight is because he fell out of his dad's bollocks. That's the only reason why it's happening.
Tommy Fury versus Beterbiev.
Oh my gosh, give me a bro. I'm going Tommy Fury on points. Tommy Fury versus Beterbiev. But Ingram, let's call it a day. And to be honest, let's call it a day because I know that Frank watches this show, and I don't want to give Frank Warren any ideas. I mean, you know, I don't want to give Frank Warren any ideas. Fucking
Pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view. Yeah, fucking tomorrow you'll be seeing articles in the Daily Star from Frank Warren going, listen,
Fury versus Beterbiev, the one that matters.
You see an article from Frank Warren in the Daily Star going, listen, I know people think I'm crazy, but I really believe in Tommy. I really believe he can go out there and do the job. Mate, come on now.
Mate, do me a favour. Do me a favour. Do me a favour.
All right, Ingram, I really, really appreciate it. Listen, anytime you want me to come on your show, I can come on your show. I'm happy to do a post-fight on your show, or we can do a post-fight on mine. I like to do a post-fight. We should have done post-fight for Trevor, Bryan and Daniel Dubois. We kind of missed the boat on that one, but it was what it was. I did that at the last minute, but I'm trying to think what other fights are actually coming up. I think there's a bit of a drought that's coming up in a minute.
No, we've got August. We've got Fury versus
Jake Paul.
What's his name? Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. Really? I was thinking of YouTube highlighting that. You want to do that live? Okay. All right, we can do that.
It might be the war of. It might be the fight of the century. Who knows?
It might be the fight of the century. Yeah.
It might be. Who knows? It might be a better fight. It might be like Barrera Morales. Then we get Trinity.
Listen, they need to find some of them YouTubers and give them to Daniel Dubois. That's all I'm going to say. He ain't ready for none of them top guys other than Dillian White. So that's all I'll say to Frank in closing. Frank, if you're listening, which I know you do, if you've got any more of them YouTubers, don't spend them all on Tommy Fury. Save a few for
By the way, does Chisora beat Pulev in the rematch?
You know what? I haven't seen Pulev's last fight on Triller, so I don't know. If Pulev's got absolutely anything left in the tank, yes. I watched their first fight. It was absolutely disgusting. It was the kind of fight that make your eyes bleed. It was dreadful. The best thing about that first fight was that Derek Chisora legitimately turned up into that fight in Umbro shorts. I've never seen a boxer wear Umbro shorts to a boxing ring in my entire life. I don't know if he was sponsored by Umbro or what happened, but I've never seen anybody wear Sports Direct gear in a professional boxing fight, of that magnitude, topping the bill on a Sky Sports card. So just off the base of the fact that it was an absolute stinker, Derek Chisora in Umbro shorts running into Pulev's jab for 12 rounds in one of the most comfortable decisions that you will ever see, anywhere in boxing. I just think, like I said before, that rematch is an absolute stinker. Matchroom recycling at its finest, didn't it? Matchroom recycling at its finest. Matchroom recycling at its finest, like I said before. Well, like I said, Ingram, when you come on the next show, what I'll do is we need to start putting these boxes in bins. You know, you've got bins outside the front door. You've got one for the bottles, you've got the brown one for the bottles, and you've got the green one for the card, and then you've got the black one for the genuine rubbish.
Well, no, you've got to put one who's recyclable. It can be recycled. Yes, recycled.
That's it. We need to start organising these boxes and put them in the right bins. Derek Chisora, for me, He go in the black bin. You don't recycle Chisora. He's done in the black bin. So you wrap him up in a little black bag, lift him up straight in the black bin. Anthony Joshua, you put him in a brown bin. He's in the bottle. He's in the bottle bin. He's recyclable, in my opinion.
In the bottle bin.
Well, oh yeah, you put him in a bottle bin. Anthony Joshua going with the glass bottles, in my opinion. That's what you put Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua goes in with them glass bottles and some of the others. But that's why we need to do it. Glass bottles, cardboard.
And what about Hatton?
Oh. Cowboy Hatton. Cowboy Hatton doesn't even go in the bin. Cowboy Hatton, that's the compost heap. He don't even go in the bin. Put Cowboy Hatton in a compost heap. You know, with all the dog shit, all the cat shit, all the dog shit, and all that shit. Fucking, carrot peelings, dog shit. You know what I mean? Fuck that. Put Cowboy Hatton on a fucking compost heap, innit? See if he can give something back to the planet for what he's taking away.
Would you pay to see Julius Francis fight again? One more fight?
No, absolutely not.
Oh my God!
Absolutely not. No way. He's talking about Tyson as well. Forget about it. No, we don't want to see. His man's 57 years old. He's 57 years old. Let the man go out in silence. Blue do-rag. He's not even working. He's out of a job at the minute, Julius Francis. What people need to be doing is actually sending the guy money. I'm surprised he hasn't started a GoFundMe. Because he got arrested, and at the minute his security license has been suspended. So he can't work.
I need to get in contact with him.
Get in contact with him. All these guys are having a laugh and saying, yeah, it's funny, he knocked out blue do-rag guy. Yeah, but Julius Francis isn't eating at the minute because of that, He's not making any fucking money. So, yeah, they need to start sending him some money.
Dubois versus Julius Francis, somebody suggested.
I don't know.
I think it'd be better than Trevor Bryan.
Trevor Bryan. Listen, both of them will get paid as well. That's all I can say. Both of them will get paid. I can't mention Daniel Dubois' manager or his trainer, but that whole combination. All I'll say is this, like I said before, if you look at that combination on Dubois' side, you knew what the outcome of that was going to be. You knew what the outcome is. All right, Ingram, we'll leave it at that. Daniel Dubois, you're going to see him in Western Union getting MoneyGram orders sent to him or fucking payday loan shop. Only a matter of time, innit? Daniel Dubois is going to be outside Albemarle and Bond pawning this stuff for money.
No. Cash converters,
innit? Daniel Dubois is going to be taking that WB interim belt into cash converters. Yo, do me a favour. Don't sell this. I'll be back for this. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. I'll be back.
Trevor Bryan will come back. Will you take these tampons? I want my belt back.
All right, let's leave it there.
Oh dear. Bro, thank you so much.
Take care, man.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Guys, hit like, hit subscribe. See you later.